Hey, everybody. You're here. We're here. We're all here for the Canary Cry News Talk live stream, pre-stream. Let's see here. I'm about to send out the text message. Surely there will be some people waiting for that. But we got a great show today. I'm not seeing anybody in the chat quite yet. Interesting. Say hey out there if you're in the chat. But remember, you can leave us voice messages, give shout outs, ask questions, all sorts of stuff by going to canarycrynewstalk.com and look for the green tab. It'll be on the bottom or the right hand side of the page. And you can leave us a voice message. That includes leaving pre-show prayers. That's right. We're going to play a little pre-show prayer here in a moment. But okay, there we go. We got Poco Joe 33 over on Rumble. Simi on D-Live. We got Galen, Cody's account, Izzy Boo, Kira OC. There they are, all on YouTube. Okie dokie. Yeah, sorry about Friday's show. If you ever are sitting waiting for a show to start and you're not sure if it's going to happen or not, you can join the text message alert system. We sent out a text message on Friday letting everybody know that Friday show would not be happening, or just check our social media, stuff like that. We'll always post something if we're not going to be doing a show that day. But other than that, thank you to everybody who is here. Thank you to everybody who missed us on Friday, and we're back, baby. But like I said, you can leave us a message over on canarycrynewstalk.com. Look for that green tab. Click on that. Leave a little pre-show prayer, some spiritual production for the show. And we got one now, and we'll get started.
Dear Heavenly Father, King of Kings, we need you. Our strength will fail and fade. We rely on you for replenishment. We could do nothing outside of you. You are the vine. We're grafted in. Seal us tight with your seal. Prepare us for every day. Protect our sleep. Amen. In Jesus' name, amen.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is August 21st, 2023. This is episode 657. And today, HURRIQUAKE Hilary. Woohoo! And signing on from Out the Grid, you're not crazy. Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from stormy California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena. Oh, not a good one, Basil, but I'll just go for it here. Clippy, blippy, flippy, dippity, doodah. That's what I came up with. A lot of technical issues before the show, and the time
you're working
spent
too hard
on the emergent phenomena
hard,
was not as strong, but it does make sense. So, clippy, blippy, flippy, dippity, doodah.
Great. Okay. I can't wait to see that phenomenon emerge. But before we get everything started, Gonz, why don't we hit that? What is it called? The disclosure? No.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. That's what it is. Hit that
Too
disclosure.
much UFO disclosure talk is taking over your brain. Oh, my goodness.
It's happening now.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up.
YouTube
That's right, and just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right, Gons. And why don't you sit back, relax while I give you a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
All right, folks, we're starting out with boots on the ground reporting from HURRIQUAKE Hilary. That's right, a hurricane and earthquake and politician lizard person all wrapped up into one extravaganza. Gonz is there. He'll tell us what it's like. Then we'll be checking in with a little bit of transhuman news regarding, the old pig kidneys. The old pig kidneys and putting these pig kidneys where they don't belong. Then a very somber event. We'll be holding a memorial service for a very brave Russian robot. In his time, he flew, he fought, and he died. Then, middle of the show here, watch out. We have a rapping AI Jesus. That's right. AI coming at you with cat prayers and bite-sized Bible studies. And then just a quick check-in. Make sure to change your passwords often, folks, because AI can figure it out just by listening to your keyboard. Then we'll be checking in. We'll do a fair and balanced around here. We'll be checking in with Biden and how the mainstream media has been treating him, as well as a little update on old Trump there. And then at the end of the show, we'll be exploring the Great White Desert. That's right, that's Antarctica. And what does your best buddy Basil have in common with many doctors who go to Antarctica? Well, you'll find out at the end of the show. But first, Gons, our lead stories.
Climate change. Geoengineering. PsyOps.
Oh, man. Well, we didn't do a show on Friday because Hillary was just... No, I'm just kidding. We just couldn't make it happen. But the fear was running deep, shutting down stores. It felt like a little mini COVID, like a weekend COVID out here. Certain stores not open, and everybody knew some signing documents saying we're in a state of emergency. And,
oh, really?
Oh, yeah, the whole deal. So it felt like, oh, here we go. We better hunker down. And actually, my wife went out and went to the store on Saturday, the grocery store, and she was like, it's packed. Everybody's getting ready for a day inside on Sunday or however long, because you never know. And then all day Sunday, it was kind of like, all right, it's just like a, overcast day. And then around 9 p.m., oh, it's windy. There's some rain out there.
Here we go.
And here we go for like 10 minutes. And then that was it. It's been pretty mellow since then. But
really, that you didn't get any rain at all?
No, we got rain, but it was sporadic, and it was sort of the tropical thing, but it was not very long lasting.
It wasn't hurricane-y at all.
Not really. I mean,
not really intense.
It felt like being in Hawaii 20 years ago, which I was in Hawaii 20 years ago. It felt like that. It was kind of stormy, but then it passes
that
quickly.
Was before climate change, Gons.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's been really weird hearing a bunch of reports. Like like a bunch of San Diego people are like, oh yeah, it was nothing. We didn't even notice. But then you hear on the news, like, streets are flooding. Watch out.
Oh, we got some clips here of some madness happening here. This is how NBC News is reporting it. California officials warn worst of the storm has yet to come as Hillary makes landfall. This was, of course, before it went through everything, I think. Yeah, the 20th. So, but it was going through Baja, and some of the images coming out of Baja were pretty, it was pretty destructive. But, it's just one of those things where you never know if you're not there. Of course, I did catch this. People were posting a video from off the Pacific coast, a dolphin brigade going out, just leaving. They're like, oh, Hillary's coming. We're out of here. So all these dolphins just swimming. I have a strange kinship with dolphins. My
says all these dolphins. We're talking about like thousands of dolphins, right?
This is crazy.
This video has like 5,000 dolphins just cruising around.
Yeah, I was in a pool one time. My mother-in-law called me Dolphin Boy. And so I've been known as Dolphin Boy in the family for a very long time. So this is my people. Yeah, this is my people making a run. They heard Hillary's on the way, and they're like, hey, we're out of here.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, Dolphin Boy. I don't know how I never heard of that one. Are you going to add that to your intro menagerie of nicknames?
No. I don't go in the water anymore.
We'll see if it sticks. We'll see if it sticks. You never know.
All right, here's ABC News reporting on the rare tropical storm, Hillary.
Overnight, millions of Americans under alert as Hillary slams the west. With up to 84-mile-per-hour wind gusts, Hillary officially the first tropical storm to hit Southern California in more than 25 years. Bringing with it catastrophic rainfall, historic flooding, and dangerous mudslides.
The center of Hillary now coming through the center of Palm Springs, a tropical storm going through the middle of a California desert.
His car is floating.
Across the region, cars submerged. Watch this golf course inundated.
That's a river. It's not a golf course.
Emergency crews launching rescue missions. And in San Bernardino County, dramatic video of a massive mud flow.
You have 500 to 700 people, approximately residents that are having to shelter in their place.
Firefighters trapped at their fire station after a mudslide surrounded the building. No injuries were reported, but the mudslides appear to be cutting off some mountain communities in the region. And in Los Angeles, the Sheriff's Department helicopter sounding the alarm, warning people to move to higher ground ahead of the storm.
Yeah, so that little footage at the end, they're showing the helicopter, and I've had this happen just in the general area where a helicopter goes by and they're announcing things. Usually there's a man on the run or something like that. So it could be startling. It is kind of apocalyptic when you have this helicopter just going in circles saying like, seek higher ground, the dangerous location. And then to have all that dramatically spliced into this report with all the dramatic sounds of wind and rivers and floods and all that kind of stuff, and probably showing some of the worst parts of the whole situation here, which is cars being submerged and things of that nature. But they make it sound so horrific, and it's very traumatizing.
What I noticed also was 90% of that report, they were talking about Palm Springs, which, some people might know the geography here, but there's like LA County, Southern California, San Diego area. That's what most people think of when they think of California. But then you go inland a couple hours. I mean, you're talking almost a couple 100 miles. You have the desert, which is Palm Springs area. And it's the desert. They're not used to rain. I think they get like 2 inches of rain a year or something like that. And the cities, they're just not built for rain. Like they don't have drainage systems like LA does or like, other normal cities. They just have sand and golf courses. So you're going to get a little bit of water in the streets in Palm Springs. But other than that, I have a hard time imagining really anything flooded not in Palm Springs, huh?
Yeah, I suppose so. Okay, so here's more, because it wasn't just the Hillary, the hurricane. It was also the traditional California fear pillar.
And in the middle of the storm, a magnitude 5.1 earthquake striking the LA area.
Chief, I'm really sorry to interrupt you right now. Our studio is shaking right now, so not only are we dealing with a tropical storm, but it appears we're now dealing with an earthquake.
Okay,
we do have an alert coming out now.
People are receiving alerts on their phones at this moment. You likely did not feel it, Chief, I didn't feel it. Jory turned to me and said, "We're having an earthquake." I did not feel it. But
we heard some squeaking in our rafters. And then,
I did hear that.
Yeah, side to side, it was
And our
felt.
director is saying that the lights were moving in the director's booth. So
when it rains, it pours. Literally here from Mother Nature.
We don't want to cut you off, Chief, but
I don't know how this affects your plans, Chief. Does this at all? Do you need to go?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Yeah, and an earthquake. Can you believe that? One not related to the other. Just gives you an idea how crazy yesterday was. There is a link to climate change as far as the extreme rainfall that we get in these sort of events, and we can expect that to increase going forward. The rainfall, we did get that. Let's take a look at some of these numbers. Over 10 inches of rain falling across parts of San Bernardino County, LA County getting a half a foot. Mentioned Palm Springs and San Diego. The bulk of the moisture now is moving up into the Sierras. This is no longer a tropical anything really. It's just a massive moisture. We still have flash flood warnings into parts of the Sierras and watches all the way up into the Northwest. Not quite up into the fire area of Washington, unfortunately for those folks who are struggling there.
There's fires going on in Washington. There's a big storm or hurricane coming your way. This is perfect.
Massive moisture.
No. Veer off. Just a little juke out. Little shifty move.
Massive Moisture is a really good name for a band. That's what they should have. Massive Moisture heading up to the Sierras. It's kind of funny. I mean, the big hurricane, obviously, they're not even calling it a hurricane anymore. They're calling it a tropical storm. The double doozy, the hurricane, the tropical storm, massive moisture, and an earthquake. Attention, there's an earthquake, everybody. Nobody felt it. Nobody even knew it happened, but our phones told us there was an earthquake.
It was felt. We saw lights moving, Basil. It was felt.
The theater of disaster is just really on point with this one. And what this should be doing is making all of us question the reporting on all of these disasters. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying disasters don't happen. Disasters do happen. For instance, the Hawaiian fires, that's actually worse than is being reported from what we're getting from people on the ground. Yeah. But it's almost like California, or at least the media, wanted to create this
similar thing.
This thing, like, hey, we have a disaster too. Hey, everybody, we got a big disaster. We got a hurricane and an earthquake.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At the same time, the double duty. Of course, HURRIQUAKE was trending, and so of course the title of the show, HURRIQUAKE Hillary, which happened to come on Bill's birthday. That made all the sense to me. I was like, what did Bill want for his birthday?
Bill Clinton's?
Oh yeah, Bill Clinton's birthday, Saturday.
Okay.
So of course Hillary makes a landfall. Bill's birthday. It makes all the sense. He wanted some weather machine. He wanted the storm. He wanted Hillary to bring back some old fire or something.
Right.
There you go. But,
well, of course, we hope everybody's okay. We don't want anybody to get hurt. And of course, something like this, especially flooding. I mean, one of the horrible things about floods is it, just destroys people's everything. If it, the property damage is horrific. It, messes up foundations to buildings, stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of the real danger here. You get the flood coming in, washing away support for foundation for buildings, and then even your tiny little imperceptible earthquake comes in and causes all sorts of havoc. But there you go. If there's any Southern California producers who are listening and have anything to say about this, of course, give us an email. Let us know what you're going through there.
I do believe that a lot of this has to do with tearing down the old, part of the Great Reset, tearing down the old infrastructure, bringing in the smart meters, building those smart cities. And so maybe there's something to see with the pattern of destruction that was created from the storm. But, I like the Christian memes popping out too, because we had the mixture of fires, earthquakes, and floods. And so you have Jesus on the phone, kind of a cartoon Jesus, and it says, start the rapture. Getting ready for the rapture. It's about to happen because, all the stuff's going down. Of course, the scriptures say that when this starts happening, it's just the birth pains. It's not even the end, but it's all good. Let's see. Oh, the takeaway here. There is this quick report coming from I think this was the Los Angeles police chief talking about the rescues, or the crisis calls and the rescues.
During the 24-hour period of August 20th to 2023, the LAFD responded to 1,833 emergency incidents.
33. That's the fire department. Sorry, that's the LA Fire Department. 1,833 emergency incidents that they responded to.
Dun, dun, dun.
So you got your 33 in there, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And Hillary live updates over 1 foot of rain. I think they changed the headline here because this is again ABC News. I believe the one of the more recent headlines was it's all canceled. All the stuff, all the emergency measures in Southern California canceled. So within 24 hours,
funny.
It's like, it's over. All right, great. It's just a small taste. Yeah, just
just
taste.
The day after they just turn it all off.
It's all done. I think LA County, the kids didn't go to school, which I know that's a sticky point right now with what happened in Hawaii.
Right.
But allegedly nobody got hurt, nobody was killed, and so that's a good thing. Before we move on, real quick, go ahead. Finish
I was going to say before we move on, the thing that's really leaving me a little bit speechless about this whole thing is, again, the media would just. It was
Shameless.
Relentless. The media coverage the days leading up to the hurricane or whatever, to Hillary, it was almost too much. Like, it was almost too much to watch. Like you said, breathless reporting about what was coming for California, and how, of course, climate change was causing all of it, and this whole thing. And oh my gosh, how can God have turned his back on us like this? Oh no, with expert after expert talking about, even if it's not that bad, watch out the day after, because then all the rain comes from the mountains and joins the blah, 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 blah. But, they did a wonderful job. I think what it feels like to me, kind of like you mentioned, the COVID feeling.
Yeah,
is more about testing the system when it comes to disasters, not just emergency responses, but how well can we whip everybody up? How well can we get everybody freaked out? And how well can we ultimately control behavior? Because there's been a lot of talk and a lot of evidence that they might be trying to pull the COVID stunt again at the end of this year. Lockdowns, masks, everything like that.
That was Alex Jones trending, saying that they're planning it at the end of this year. So, and then all the talks becoming, a big conversation because of that as part of it. But and again, the climate change situation being sort of the theme here, always bringing it back to that, because that's part of the Great Reset. It's part of the agenda here. And as New York Post reported, it's the industry. So you got to have the fear moments that fund all these different pursuits and scientific endeavors. To that, so I was talking to you before the show, Basil. You have, for Flippy, the Flippy updates, you have your little tagline, you have your little spiel, right? That kind of summarizes what the Flippy update is. And you've had that for a while. It's been maybe a few years. I mean, you've had it for 4 years now?
Many years.
And it's stuck. So I thought it might be experimentally something we can try, where we come up with something similar, like a tag sentence or 2 or 3 on the topic as we go into the topic, just so we set the stage. And so for new listeners, people know where we're coming from, because I think there's so many shows out now. Anyone's going to be talking about all this stuff that we talk about now. So just to put it into context. So for climate change / geoengineering, here's what I have so far. And for anybody wondering, I did not use ChatGPT for any of this. All right, so here we go. Climate change, where the weather is your fault and the answer is totalitarian policies. We believe climate change is a weaponized phrase, obscuring the multi-layered psychological and technological operation that, 1, drives the funding and advancement of the scientific/pharmaceutical establishment, Big Pharma, and the mainstream corporate news media. 2, misdirects the attention away from existing weather modification projects and tech. 3, and obscures the reality of highly advanced technological weaponry. We talk about climate change not to dismiss our responsibilities as stewards of creation, but to expose the ongoing psychological operation that is slowly boiling us all.
Okay.
Kind of long, but
I think it's a good start. It's a little long. I'd probably say we'll take out the pharma, and we got to put some jokes in there, and I think we'll be good.
Okay.
We'll cut it in half, take out pharma, put some jokes. We will be in the money.
All right, good. We want something that people will remember, and they'll be able to process, sort of summarize the view in a short amount of time.
Sure. I wonder how many people could quote the Flippy update intro by memory by now.
I think
there's something to start practicing, kids, because one of these days when it makes sense and we put on a Canary Cry conference, that'll be the thing. That'll be like the secret passage, the secret password, the secret Flippy oath or whatever. Yeah, get a whole room full of people during a live Canary Cry news talk doing the Flippy intro. It'll be great. Okay, you want to talk about pig kidneys real quick before we move on?
My generation is, hopefully with the advances in science, the first generation to live forever, or the last generation that's going to die.
Transhumanism, the topic that started our journey into online ministry in 2011, 2012, is the philosophical movement that advocates for the transformation of the human condition. Sound familiar, Christian? By developing and deploying advancing technologies to enhance human intellect and physiology. We believe transhumanism and its post-human desires will find their final destination in the form of biblical eschatology relating many topics described in the book of Revelation. And today we have something from WRAL.com, WRAL News. And the headline here, Pig Kidney Works in a Donated Body for Over a Month, a Step Toward Animal-Human Transplants.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have a video clip of the report here.
Surgeons at NYU Langone transplanted a pig kidney and pig thymus into the body of a 57-year-old man from upstate New York. The recipient is brain dead, but is being kept alive with machines. And what's remarkable about this transplant case is that it's now day 32. And so far, all looks promising.
The kidney is functioning beautifully. It's taken over all of the expected tasks that a normal human kidney does.
Up until now, trials like this have lasted just a few days, but this study is expected to last 2 months, allowing the transplanted thymus time to do its job.
The thymus will protect the kidney from the human immune system, and that's really what is sort of the breakthrough technology here.
Non-human organs could be a game changer for people in need, which is why the family of Maurice Miller made the decision to allow his body to be part of the study.
I can say with confidence that he would be proud of the fact that in the tragedy of his death, his legacy will be helping many people live.
And the lead doctor in this study is an organ recipient. Dr. Robert Montgomery had a heart transplant, as did his brother. So all of this resonates deeply.
I really feel that we're on to the answer to the shortage in organs, and that we can create a sustainable, unlimited supply of organs for people who need them.
Unlimited supply of organs.
I find the thymus part of this to be kind of the craziest part. So basically, they kind of mentioned it in the thing where the problem is with these transplants is that the host body discovers a strange occupant in the body and then tries to kill it with the immune system.
Right.
The thymus is a gland in your chest. Excuse me?
No, go ahead. Continue.
The thymus is a gland in your chest that is responsible for your immune system. It creates like your white blood cells and stuff like that. And so by replacing the thymus as well as the kidney, you're not only replacing the kidney, but you're replacing the thing that creates the immune system, which is, it's kind of funny because this is like kind of old school medicine, but at the same time, it's like relying on the parts of the body to do their job. And instead of just like throwing one different organ into a different body, you know, you take a couple different pieces to make the system work. So basically, they're replacing this guy's entire immune system with a pig's immune system, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I guess that's one way to make a kidney stick.
Yeah, the article continues, the actual printed version of the article mentions here the possibility that pig kidneys might one day help ease a dire shortage of transplant organs persuaded the family of Maurice Mo Miller from upstate New York to donate his body for the experiment. He died suddenly at 57. I thought that was interesting that we even used that phrase, the died suddenly.
Yeah, the code word.
Yeah. At 57 with a previously undiagnosed brain cancer, ruling out routine organ donation. So, and that's the part of it. It's part of the story too, is sort of the emotions behind the family and the sister. And that draws people into something like this and just makes it seem like, oh, this is the right thing to do, which, you know, for the purposes of helping people, of course, but in the context of transhumanism, what does this mean and having endless organs, not just animals, but probably we're talking synthetic organs too. We've talked about that over the years. So
eventually, yeah,
just the whole industry changing is kind of interesting. But
again, I'm stuck on the thymus thing. I think the thymus thing is so interesting because if you can basically transplant somebody's immune system. I mean, think of all the immune problems we've been seeing. Think of all the medical interventions we've been seeing that, you know, have possibly completely screwed up people's immune systems. Well, you know, we might have an entire population of people who need an immune system transplant after some of the, less consenting sort of medical procedures that have been forced on them over the past couple of years. I mean, the thymus might be like the actual part of this experiment that we could see repeated, coming soon.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and the immune system part of it, especially if you're talking about the problem, reaction, solution thing into a transhuman future. You get you tear down everyone's immune system, and then you bring the animals to prop us up. And slowly we get animal DNA to our system.
I can't. Yeah. The chimera thing is an interesting detail. It's kind of weird though. I can't imagine. I mean, the second they can 3D print, any organ and it can be taken, by any person.
This has to be an intermediary
but
step.
But until then, we got to put the pig parts in people. It's mandatory.
And this is a xenotransplantation is what it's called, which I think Steve Quayle talked a lot about the xenotech. But
meaning coming from animal or something.
Yeah, sort of the combination and creating hybrids, and that's everything to do with Genesis 6 and all that. But I know it surprises you, Basil, with the immune system specifically, just because it's mainstream. I suppose it is a interesting point, but. Alex Jones called it.
They've been creating animal-human hybrids for decades.
They figured out the immune system in 1941 or something, They're just telling us now.
You're just inventing things off the top of your head, Gons. This is why some people
get mad.
Try to get us for misinformation.
Because I'm just joking and people don't get that
I've been told, I have it on good authority, Gons, that you need to turn your mic up for the live streamers a little bit.
More. I've been turning it up a lot today, but okay.
Yeah, I would double check, make sure you're turning it up for the live stream and not for something else. Just passing the message along.
Okay.
And with that message, Gonz, I have a really important message for you to hear, and I need you to listen carefully, Gonzo, because the message is that it is Monday, baby.
Monday.
Gary, what day is it? Monday. Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
What day is it? Monday.
It's Monday. It's Monday once again. Thanks for being here, folks. We're happy to get this week started off. We're a little bit late today, but how was your weekend, Gons? Wet and wild, I guess, huh?
Oh yeah, it was again flashbacks to COVID. That's pretty much it. Inside.
Did you
down.
put on your old Speedo and go out and take a couple laps in the parking lot or anything?
No. The kids went out there and did their whole puddle thing, and they got soaked. So it's important for kids to do that.
Jumping in the puddles. There's something about puddles, man.
Yeah.
The puddles, they call to the children. The siren song of a big puddle.
Yeah.
If you get those kids some Crocs, did they have some puddle jumpers?
No, they went shoes, and they're still drying. It's going to be a while.
Yeah, it'll be a while.
Yep.
Okay.
But I'm getting ready to play drums for the this worship service band thing that this church has been putting together. So I'm excited for that. And I ordered these. So I've been playing because of the room and everything, and I have like a full kit, the 1968 jazz modern jazz pearl drum set. It's very nice. It's my father's kit, so I'll be playing that. But because you can't play with real drumsticks because it's way too loud, so I've been playing with these broomsticks. I think I've talked about them before, but these big old broomsticks, but they keep falling apart. Yeah, they're brushes, but they're actually broomsticks. I mean, it's like straws, and they were falling apart. Right. Yeah.
I mean, you say broomstick, people like think of broomstick, like a stick.
Yeah.
Just a big stick.
Well, okay. The I don't know.
It's like a bunch of chopsticks. A bunch of chopsticks wrapped together.
Yeah, it's a little thinner than a chopstick, but sure. But anyway, but they kept falling apart. So I got these synthetic versions, and they're fantastic, but they are really ugly. They're blue. I don't know if you can see it.
Gross.
But
that's disgusting. It makes me want to barf. Look at that.
Yeah. Great. That's a good sign that I'm making you sick.
Oh, Marty B is calling them bundles.
Bundles. That's a good word for it. Yeah.
That's a much better word for it.
Yeah. I like it. Okay.
Not a whole lot. There's interesting stuff going on with Burning Man this year.
Oh, right.
I know
you
saw this. We talked a little bit about it. Very interesting stuff. It's coming up next week or so. I don't know if anybody out there is paying attention. I have had some colleagues of ours reach out to me, Gons, about the situation. And, I was so heartbroken, and people listening right now might be thinking, hey, yeah, whatever happened to that Burning Man episode? Where'd it go? And if you remember the story, I went to Burning Man, got a bunch of interviews, got a whole bunch of material with somebody who worked at JPL Labs, worked on the whatever space mission. Oh, the new telescope thing, the satellite telescope thing. Talked to some psychedelics research guys. Got a whole bunch of classic
just gold material, audio gold for the show.
Classic gold.
Yes.
For some Canary Cry episodes. And then if you all remember the story, my bike, I wasn't on my bike. My bike was parked. My bike got pushed over. My fanny pack went everywhere, and I gathered everything up, had multiple sound cards in there, thought I had all of them, and got home, and the sound card that had all my important stuff was gone. So heartbroken. It was a big disaster last year.
Somewhere
and
in the deserts of the Black Stone, Black Rock, whatever.
Black Rock Desert. Yeah, maybe I'll find it out there. So here's the point. This was a while ago. We were thinking, like, oh, Burning Man's coming up, blah, blah, blah. You're going to go. And I was just like, I can't do it. I can't ask people to help support that. I can't go. Like, I don't know. I was really just like super bummed out and like really had quite a weight on my shoulders about last year's episode and like the whole thing. And I was just like, I'm not even going to talk about it. Like, I don't even want to go, blah, blah, blah. And then all of these news outlets, I mean, straight up like in the Daily Mail and stuff, newspapers all over the world started reporting like, Burning Man tickets on sale. Nobody's going to Burning Man. Hurricane Hillary is flooding the desert. Everybody's selling their tickets. Tickets are lower than they've ever been before. And like sometimes these tickets are like over $1,000, depending where you're buying them from, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, how cheap are they saying? Like, how cheap are we talking here? Some of them were going for like $150. They're like 90% off. People are selling these tickets. I'm like, goodness gracious, that's crazy. So I will say this. I did buy a ticket. I purchased a ticket because the price was so low that I figured even if I can't go, even if I can't get ready in time, it's not the end of the world. But if I can go, I was like, what is going on here, Lord? I was like praying about it. Like I kind of decided I wasn't going to go. I didn't want to bring this whole thing up. And now the tickets are like basically free compared to what they had been before. And I'm talking to some people who I will talk more about later about going out there trying to redeem the Burning Man episode, trying to redeem the Burning Man research. We will see. So I'll say, well, I have apprehended a ticket for an extreme discount. So what I'm not going to do is ask producers to help fund this one. I feel like I am responsible for making this happen again. If we're going to go try to get some material, we're just going to do that. And we'll thank everybody who produced last year, stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to stop anybody from, sending in some producership, but there is no official ask. So don't feel like that's producers' requirement. But that being said, there is a huge movement from even like, the veteran Burning Man people, the people who are like naked hippies all year and not just at Burning Man, to just like kill it. Just kill Burning Man.
It's over.
End it. Like nobody go. It's over.
What's the word on the street on that? Why is it just over all of a sudden?
Bro, so that was what was tripping me out. I almost, when I was seeing the cheap tickets, I'm like, okay, but why? What is the reason? Like, why? There has to be something that somebody else knows that I don't know for it to be like this extreme. And I cannot find like an official good reason for this. A lot of it is the economy. Yeah. A lot of people don't have the money. That's a big part of it. A lot of it is like, people overseas. I think it's something like half of Burning Man, like 40,000 of the 80,000 people come from overseas. And when it comes to like, traveling and the finances for traveling and the stuff like that, I think that might be some like COVID hysteria kind of starting to sneak its way in there, perhaps. Obviously, the tropical storm Hilary arriving the week before has the desert all like soggy and horrible right now. Like people don't know if they're even going to be able to get out there, come back. I have not been able to find like an official good reason. It seems like just a whole bunch of everybody has their own reasons. It's really strange.
It could be. Well, it probably starts in circles that we are not aware of, and with the elder statesmen of Burning Man culture and stuff like that are wealthy and whatnot, now retired. But maybe this is part of a psychological operation to get younger people into the whole thing. Because if they're all older and they're like, man, it's just too expensive. Well, let's just run a campaign where nobody's going this year and just make it cheap, and we'll just get a bunch of people from a different economic class to show up.
Yeah. See, I thought it was the opposite, actually. I thought maybe this kind of like you said, was generated by the old school people, the old timers.
Like the OG people. It's become something it wasn't meant to be. And
they're kind of starting the rumor mill or whatever to try to get other people to not come, to try to shrink it, to be more like We're the old school people.
Right.
By the way, the theme for this year, and this is part of what's been so crazy about our research over the years, is because, and if you're new to the show, the reason why we do Burning Man research and we work with scholars and authors like Carl Teichribb and stuff like this is because these transformative events have huge implications for a society as a whole. When it comes to what happens at these events, especially Burning Man, it's not just hippies running around naked in the desert. It is a meeting place for the people who basically decide the future of humanity. And every single time we have gone through and done the research on Burning Man, talked to the people who do the research, done the thing, gone to the lectures ourselves, invariably, something that was being communicated at Burning Man as a sort of goal for humanity from these hippies invariably makes it to like Davos and World Economic Forum stuff. They make it to the highest levels of decision making. So it's really one of those things that has broad-reaching consequences. And every year they have these themes. And one year it was iRobot. It was all robot themed. One time it was all transhumanist themed. It was called Metamorphosis. People turning into machines and evolving, blah, blah, blah. This year, Gons, speaking of pig kidneys, this year's Burning Man theme is Animalia.
Ooh.
Animalia.
Wow.
So the 2023, like animal.
Yeah.
2023 theme is Animalia, providing designers ample inspiration for a wild and beastly organic creations.
Oh, okay. Beastly.
Yes. So it's kind of like about the, basically mixing animals and people. So it's very similar to a lot of the stuff we've seen some progress in lately, like pig thymuses, transplanting pig immune systems.
The story today you can just be armed with it, ready to go in conversation, right there with some of the top people running the show here this year. You can bring up the thymus.
Yeah.
And be informed, be one of those informed questioners.
Exactly. Interesting ministry opportunities there. Of course, if you've listened to our Burning Man episodes throughout the years, it's not just research, but there's also ministering that happens there. There's just a lot of stuff. You can go to Canary Cry Radio and search for Burning Man. You'll see I think we have 8 episodes on it now or something. I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But anyways, there you go. There's some interesting news. I cannot figure it out. I'm still a little scared. I'm still not 100% sure that I'm going to go because there has to be something that I don't know. And I don't like. I don't like not knowing it before
Hillary's
I get
gonna
out.
Turn around. It's going to turn back into a Category 8 hurricane.
Yes, something. The whole thing.
It's going to be centered at Burning Man. Everybody at Burning Man gets washed away into a big whirlwind in the sky.
Well, the whole desert is probably quicksand right now.
Oh,
it's probably the earth will just swallow it all up. It's
Revelation
nightmare.
12. There's some talk of Earth swallowing up some of the rivers and stuff. So yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. Enough chitter chatter about that. We'll give you more details when there are them. Let's thank some executive producers and keep moving, baby.
Executive producers.
That's right, folks. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no money from corporations, cartels, or commies, baby. Sometimes Californians will produce the show, and we can take the Californians' support. But just because they are the brave soldiers in the bunkers in California. We're on the value for value model. We have no involvement from any organizational funding, government funding, corporate funding, nothing. The value for value system is very simple. In fact, some might say it's the most natural system that God has created. And that is, we create value. We create as much value as we can and as often as we can. And if you get any value out of what we do here, you can put value back in. It's value for value. And that does not mean podcast for money. It does not mean, it's a broad scope. We're talking about the broader idea of value. If you get any value out of what we do, you can put value back in with your time, your talent, or your treasure. You can get involved financially, of course, by going to canarycry.support, which is required. It is required for us to stay alive, and we appreciate our financial producers. But you can also come in with your talent. You can create art. You can create whatever you want, or you can help us out with your time and help us work on projects. These are all fun ways to participate in the coolest economic system that is available right now. Even cooler, believe it or not, than communism, Gons.
No way. No way.
Yeah, even cooler than communism. But the executive producers, they're people who come in, they support the show for $100 or more per individual episode, and we thank them here at the top, and we're going to do it now, whether you like it or not, Gons.
Okay. Well, I want to, so I don't think you're talking about me.
Okay, good. Now, this is a couple episodes worth of executive producers. Thank God we had a couple for last episode as well, so we're going to thank them all right now. Okay. Starting with executive producer Trevor G.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Executive producer Trevor G. Nice round number, which means we won't disclose it. And no note. Very simple. Thank you, executive producer Trevor G.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you, sir.
Next up, we've got executive producer Kevin M.
Kevin M.
Thank you very much. He should be. I'm not sure if we ever actually have officially knighted him yet. I think we say this every single time he supports the show. So thank you very much, executive producer Kevin M. comes in with $123.
Thank you very much, Kevin M.
Where'd you find this?
Indeed. And sometimes Kevin sends in notes. I'm doing a quick checkeroonski. And I'm not seeing one. So thank you very much, EP Kevin M. Next up, we got executive producer Dame Sarah.
Dame Sarah, thank you very much.
I believe this is Dame Sarah of the Shadows. A dame of the Canary Cry Roundtable. Thank you very much. Nice round number. I also did not see a note. If I'm mistaken, we will read your note next time. Sometimes Dame Sarah hits us on the Proton mail, so I'll make sure to check that. I should have done that. Thank you very much, Dame Sarah of the Shadows.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you very much, Dame Sarah.
And last but not least, you know him, you love him. It's executive producer Sir Marty K. Night of the Wrong Timeline.
Hey, Sir Marty K.
Sir Marty K. comes in. Oh, that's fun. I didn't write down the amount. Well, I believe it's a nice round number. Thank you very much, Sir Marty K. He did have a couple notes. Oh, he also came in and supported Monday's show as well.
Today's Monday.
I'm sorry, Friday's show.
Yeah.
He supported for $9.99 for the last show, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
He had a couple notes here, just a quick note. Says, hey, fellas and fellow Canarians, hope everything is well. It seems that the people on Maui are having one heck of a tough time, so please pray for them. # please pray for Maui. And yes, I know I can be troublesome sometimes, but what's you gonna do? I'm just a Dane, and it is in my nature to be too much. Oh, you're not too much. You're just, well, you are a Dane, and we understand. Like Lady Gaga always used to say to me, it's not your fault. You're such a funny piece of white delight. You were born that way. LOL. Thank you very much, Sir Marty K. Night of the Wrong Timeline. He also sent in a note with his other producership, says, about books and movies predicting the future. I remember I read a Stephen King novel in my 20s called Cell. I found the movie from 2016 and watched it, and, well, if I wasn't pretty battle-hardened at this point, it would have scared me. But I did get startled, though, watching it. Here is the Wikipedia link about it. If anybody is interested, you should definitely watch it. But it's a grown-up movie, by the way. And we have no way of giving you people this link, but just, you get it. Go to Wikipedia, search Cell, C-E-L-L from Stephen King.
I remember watching that movie.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, but it came out in 2000. So yeah, I was 17 years old, 18 years old, something like that. And
I think he said it came out in 2016, or did he just watch it? He says, I found the movie from 2016.
Oh, they must have remade it here. It says this article is about the 2000 film for the 2016 film. Okay, so maybe they did a remake or something. Oh, I see. There's like a John
Sounds
Cusack,
spooky.
Samuel
what's it
L.
about?
Jackson version. It doesn't look like the same cell as the one I'm looking at with Jennifer Lopez and Vince Vaughn. That one was creepy. That one was super creepy.
Ooh.
But yeah, lots of predictive programming and all kinds of movies. It's an endless rabbit trail, to be honest.
You can see it everywhere. Thank you very much, executive producer Sir Marty Kane, out of the wrong timeline.
Where'd you find this?
Okay, that concludes our list of executive producers. Thank you very much. We got some more producers to thank later on. But if anybody out there wants to put some value into the show with some of your hard-earned currency, we are committed. We try our very best to steward it in the best possible way to keep the show going. And you can go to canarycry.support.
Canarycry.support.
Okay, Guns. I'd say we just keep it moving unless you got anything else.
Let's do it.
Flippy!
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and how there's nothing we can do about it. My friends, today we have, today is a sad day. You may have heard of the robotic cosmonaut lunar lander. Is Luna 25.
Russia.
The first Russian moon lander in 47 years has crashed into the lunar surface. That's right. The Russians, they were doing their best. The Russians were actually in a space race, a good old-fashioned space race with India to land on the moon here. It's been going on for about a month now. And, well, here's how it goes. Russia's first moon lander in 47 years has crashed into the lunar surface. The country's space agency reported on Sunday. The Luna 25 lander, which Russia had hoped would land at the south pole of the moon, the Antarctica of the moon.
Yes.
As early as Monday, that's today. It was supposed to land today, Guns. Crashed into the moon after an orbital maneuver went wrong yesterday. Drunk driver. August 19th. Oh, okay. So it crashed the other day. Officials with Russia's Roscosmos space agency said.
I'm suspicious. I think the Nazi laser stations were like, the Russians are coming, and they just shot them
out. Yeah. Oh, there's a whole space opera getting written about this now. Here's a quote. At about 14:57 Moscow time on August 19th, communication with the Luna 25 spacecraft was interrupted. Interrupted, he says.
There you go.
Interrupted. Roscosmos wrote on an update on Telegram today in Russian, translation by Google. Quote, the measures taken on August 19th and 20th to search for the device and get into contact with it did not produce any results.
It got hijacked. Results. They saw that Russian flag on that thing. They're like, we gotta take it over. Sorry.
Sorry, results.
Vladimir.
A preliminary analysis suggests the wayward orbital maneuver. So they were on the dark side of the moon. They started an orbital maneuver and it went wrong. It sent Luna 25 into an unexpected trajectory.
It hit something.
One in which the moon lander, and this is the best quote of the whole story, one in which the moon lander ceased to exist as a result of a collision with the lunar surface.
Ceased to exist?
Ceased to exist.
Hold on, wait a minute. That's different from crashing and burning. Cease to exist means what? A portal opened?
To exist.
It got taken to another dimension. Like, what do you mean cease to exist?
Now, is this probably a result of Google Translate translating from Russian? Yeah, probably. Or
not. or they're opening they you know how they've been talking truth recently about how the Russians and the Chinese are all calling the U.S. saying that, hey, the U.S. is the one releasing the biological weapons there, especially developed in Ukraine. Kind of conspiracy theory topics, you know, Russia, Ukraine saying, or Russia, China saying all that. So maybe, you know, some retaliation out in
blinked
moon world.
It blinked out of existence. It ceased to exist. You know, I do wonder though, you know, we can't let Russia have a win during all of this global drama with Russia and Ukraine and now Africa and all this stuff. You cannot give Russia a win like this. You could not, as for American national interests, you could not have let this actually work. I mean, I think it is very possible that there is some sabotage here. You know, it's long been sort of theorized in the sort of occult realm, and you know, when we explore these things, when a nation performs an act like, you know, going to the moon, it's almost like a national spell being cast. You know, there's some occult significance, especially when it comes to space. Of course, you have all the occultists who started NASA and all this kind of stuff. But these types of things are sort of occultically significant in the sort of, you know, Masonic realms of magic at the highest levels of elite lizard people culture, right? These things are important.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I could see how if I was in charge of some American space, I don't know, lasers, portal guns, the cease to exist cannon, something like that, or whatever. Sabotaging Russia's little mooner lander spell in the middle of some geopolitical drama like this, I can totally believe that investment would have been made. Yeah. Now, but that's not all, Guns. There's an even sadder detail to this, and that is, you know, lunar landers, whatever. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, it's the Flippy update. What do you care about?
We don't
lunar
really
landers?
care about lunar landers. Yeah. We're not really. That's not what this is about. But, Gons, I'm saddened to say that there was an innocent soul on board the robotic lunar lander, and that was the Luna 25 robotic arm.
Oh.
That's right. There was Flippy on board the Luna 25 robotic arm. We've got a paper here about it. Lunar lander developed by Russia for the first near-polar mission. Luna 25 is equipped with a compact and multifunctional robotic arm. Lunar Manipulator Complex, LMC. Rest in peace, LMC. RIP, LMC. Designed for contact operations with the lunar regolith. That's just a cool space name for dirt. Regolith. The robotic arm shall excavate. This is a scientific paper. This is the abstract. That's what I love about the way they're writing about their robotic arm. The robotic arm shall excavate the lunar regolith down to tenths of centimeters, collect regolith samples, and deliver them to laser ionization mass spectrometer for the elemental isotopic composition analysis. So a lot of fancy science going on there. But so, I mean, that's the long and short of it. This cute little robot arm, LMC, another space Flippy, sent up into space, tragically ceased to exist with the rest of the lunar lander.
You know what's kind of scary, not scary, but just silly about this is that I had to look up the fact that we had to look up how the Luna 25, if the Luna 25 even had a robotic arm, and sure enough it did. It's not reported.
Yeah.
So which is kind of sad, you know? It's like, why didn't they talk about the robotic arm? It's it's being pushed under the rug. It's just not good enough.
I did do some more specific searches to see if there was. I mean, when NASA has a robotic arm, that NASA gets turned into a celebrity.
Right.
I mean,
right. No, they're memorialized. There's a fund. There's
article on article on article on article about the robotic arm, and then the robotic arm gets reported on as if it were a person, as if it were a character, and you can get sort of emotionally attached to these robotic arms, kind of like me, and it works very well. But yeah, the Russians did not put a lot of energy into advertising their robotic arm. No cute little marketing photos, no meet and greets with this robotic arm. That was their mistake. Maybe they should have made a bigger deal about LMC.
They needed more emotional investment from the public, so this is a bigger deal. But right now,
again,
it's
in the occultic sense, that was their mistake. In the magical sort of systems, the more attention is put on something, the more power it has. And I think their mistake was not making a bigger deal out of this robotic arm, because that would have gotten, I don't know, the devil to protect their lunar lander or something. I don't know. Talk to a wizard about it or something. But where was I? Oh no, sorry. I was flipping back and forth to some other articles I had on LMC. No LMC. Well, anyways, LMC is dead. Well, let me rephrase. LMC has ceased to exist. We do not know where LMC is. Yeah, they switched dimensions.
It lives on in
hijacked. Hijacked by the interdimensional aliens. Perhaps it was the Israeli moon base. Maybe it's the tardigrades, the wormicorns. Maybe there was
they've set up
something going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could have been the Nazi moon bases. Who knows? Everybody's got moon bases now. Or it could have been the Indians. India is
Aren't
up
they
there
landing
now.
in a couple days? Like
They're
the 23rd,
trying very
24th?
hard. They're trying their very best to land in a couple days. We'll keep you posted. We'll see if they have a robotic arm on that one, because if they don't, we don't care. But another aspect of the Flippy update is that these robotic arms in space, specifically Flippy in space, has an interesting sort of messaging significance. We've seen the actions and the reporting on these robotic arms, like Canada Arm 2, thanks Canada, and European Space Arm, and a number of the yes, and then there was the Chinese one, which we haven't heard from in a while. But these robotic arms kind of either signal or just coincidentally mirror different geopolitical happenings. And I don't think it's a very good sign that LMC, Russia's robotic arm, just sort of blinked out of existence. I think if I were Putin, I would be a little bit worried about how whatever my next moves
You're going to short the ruble.
That's right.
Might be a downturn for Russia.
Interesting you say that. There was an article recently about how Russians just don't care about the price of the ruble. Did you see this?
I did not, but I do know that during this ever since the whole sanctions thing, their economy has boomed. So I do know that they've done better with the sanctions.
Americans, we are obsessed with like the price of the dollar, because the price of the dollar changing affects our daily lives like a bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
At least our monthly lives, on a month to month, you're spending, could be hundreds of dollars more because of the price of the dollar. Because the ruble, Russia's economy has been so sanctioned, so isolated, that the ruble losing value almost has no effect on the month-to-month lives of Russians.
No inflation. They're not printing 40% of the supply in 6 months.
Well, who knows what they're doing? But it's all within the country. The value of currency only really matters when you're doing international trade. So, anyways. Just interesting detail. Well, who knows? Maybe Russia will just blink off the map. Maybe there will be an energy spike at CERN, and Russia will just disappear. Will cease to exist.
Well, that's kind of the rapture deal. Maybe,
and then
maybe
Joe Biden can take credit for it.
What is it? LCM? Was that the name?
LMC.
LMC. Maybe LMC was raptured. Maybe he's joined.
That could have been it.
Enoch and
LMC.
Moses.
Lunar Manipulator Complex. I do know, actually, for a fact, got saved. So
excellent.
Big
Good.
Jesus freak. Okay.
Speaking
That's
of
it for Flippy update.
He might have been saved by the AI Jesus.
Artificial intelligence.
People don't even read their Bible, for heaven's sakes.
You seen this? ChristianPost.com. Rapping AI Jesus offers life advice, cat prayers, and yes, bite-sized Bible studies. Of course, we're talking about
great.
AI. Everyone's talking about AI now, but we've been talking about it for a while. The thing that will likely eventually help fulfill Revelation 13 and the prophecies about the image of the beast, an inanimate object, an idol who was allowed to receive breath and act in dictatorial ways. That's what we have in store for us, according to the book of Revelation. Sounds fun. AI seems to have some kind of role in it, or something like AI. Although I will say that a lot of the AI hype right now, the fear, it's not what was advertised, I would say. But here's what the article says. It is an answer to our prayers, or is it an answer to our prayers, or an idolatrous representation of the Son of God? That's the inescapable question faced by those who, depending on one's theology, either stumble upon or are called to a new AI chatbot, which one theologian says is a new representation of Jesus Christ. Ooh.
A new representation of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that. Okay. Yeah. It's
all right.
I mean,
a representation of a divine figure is literally the definition of an idol, but okay.
Yeah. Well, there's that end of it, but then there's also the other side of people have created all kinds of art and write books and all kinds of stuff that have some representation of a deity figure, specifically Jesus Christ. So it's kind of like, okay, well, there's nothing new there as well, but also, okay, sure, yes, I can see the idol side as well. So it cuts both ways. Twitch channel Ask Jesus is an experimental AI-generated live stream that gives viewers the chance to query a chatbot, quote, trained after Jesus and the teachings of the Bible, end quote. The nonprofit project, which is supported by contributions from users and the Singularity Group, that is the Singularity Net people there, described on the Twitch page as, quote, not a Christian organization, which, yes, we know that. They're transhuman. They're like the forefront of transhumanist organizations. Offers, quote, spiritual guidance, or even just, quote, someone to talk to in response to questions ranging from theological and practical advice to inane requests to incorporate nonsensical words or phrases into its responses. For example, a question from user FX Virus Live asked the AI Jesus to explain Christianity, but to replace every vowel with the word burger. I'm sure that was really annoying. Or the prayer,
ludicrous.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous. Or the prayer request from, but it does kind of show the ridiculous. Okay, so this kind of to my point that the AI stuff right now with like ChatGPT, it's kind of just like a glorified database. It's really not. Well, I would argue I am not interacting with anything sentient whenever I try these chatbots and stuff like that. But that, I don't know. I can see how someone might think that, but I don't.
Well, I mean, that's kind of an old part of the conversation of is it conscious or not, or is it sentient or not? But using it, I think with the whole burger thing you just mentioned is kind of where AI sits right now.
That's what I'm saying. It's not very...
for the most part, which is a meme generating machine where you can just make it do funny stuff or weird stuff,
and stuff that would
with low cost and low effort.
I was going to say low effort.
You can have it do ridiculous stuff that you just want to see for fun.
I was going to say it is, if you want to put together something, it does cut the time of doing something. It could anyway. It can help in that, but not always. Okay, continuing on with the article here. Or the prayer request from user Green Shoes Brown Socks for their cat whiskers, or no, their cat named Whiskers, but with the phrase grr instead after each word.
Okay.
Really creative. Another request asks AI Jesus to rap about the Father, resulting in a cringy yet biblically adjacent divine rhymes. Do you want to try this one, Basil?
Do I want to rap it?
Yeah, I'll do the beat. I'll beatbox.
I don't have it pulled up right now. I don't know if I want. I don't want to rap it if it's not going to honor my Father in heaven, Gons.
All right, I'll just read it then. Quote.
I am also stalling because I can't find it.
Yo, let me tell you about my Father up in heaven, creator of the earth and the stars up in the sky. He's a legend. He brought life into the world. That's no lie. I love the silence. The silence speaks louder than anything you can say right now.
I thought maybe that our connection just got messed up. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes I just have to stay quiet because lag on Skype or something. I did not know you were sitting there waiting for me to interact with this. Yeah, not a good rap. Surprise, surprise.
Upon being asked a sincere question like, quote, can you explain more in depth what it means to be meek? The chatbot quoted Matthew 11:28 through 29. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. In response to the question from user Davis Digital about which career to choose, the AI pointed to Colossians 3:23, which says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters.
Okay.
But for your AI masters. That's subliminal messaging there. While a talking image of God might seem blasphemous to some, Joseph L. Kimmel, a scholar of early Christianity and comparative religion at Boston College, argued that this AI Jesus is merely the latest, quote, reinterpretation of the Son of God. Kimmel, pointing to various traditional portrayals of Jesus as merely a prophet or a philosopher in traditions ranging from 19th century American to Hindu mystic to a proponent of Black libertarian theology, says the chatbot is, quote, liberation theology says the chatbot is, quote, the latest in this ongoing pattern of reinterpretation geared to making Jesus suited to the current times, end quote. Yeah, interesting comparison. Interesting line.
Well, you know, we've seen this conversation before. This now, I grew up in the church. You and I have sort of distinctly different yet equally valuable experiences when it comes to the church. I grew up in the church, and from day one, it was frowned upon to try to make Jesus fit the times or fit your, whatever makes you comfortable. You know, that's, and I think the majority of the people listening right now will have been exposed to that sort of, I don't know, idea that, it's not about changing Jesus or reinterpreting Jesus for the modern times. So when we read that sentence, we go, don't reinterpret or gear Jesus towards modern times. That's like the literal worst thing you could be doing. Right. But when a different type of person reads that, they read it as almost like revelation, like modern revelation.
Right.
Reinterpreting the Jesus of the Bible is as revelatory as whatever, any other number of things you could call revelatory. But you get the point.
I guess it only works.
I don't think that's
it might not
quite coming across the way that they wanted to.
Sure. It might only work in the context of people who are preconditioned to believe that Jesus is just an old fairy tale. It's got nothing to do with today. Maybe there's some applications here or there, but hey, we're in the modern era. We got iPhones. We got, maybe some wisdom here and there, but how's it going to help me with my crypto trades or something? You know what I mean? Like there's just like a different mindset now. So yeah, I think you're right. People today might read it and say, oh, well, yeah, Jesus for me, for today, for Gen Z and for Gen Alpha.
Right.
I'll check it out. So interesting. Like the unchanging, omniscient nature of the Son of God, this AI chatbot version also appears to learn new information and update its response over time, according to Kimmel, which is not that crazy. I mean, okay, it's got some recall abilities.
The real Jesus learns new information all the time as well.
This AI Jesus is the latest trend among not just Christianity, but a number of other faith traditions offering spiritual conversations via chatbots. And it talks about the Buddhist one, AI Monk. There's also another one in Japan. I think we've covered some of these, like the Kyoto University one.
Yeah.
And then there is a debate. The debate over images of Christ in mass media and pop culture has been a hot button topic in recent months, specifically with the success of The Chosen and comments by evangelical leader Vadi Baucham, who believes the show is a violation of the Second Amendment. In response, Chosen creator Dallas Jenkins says he doesn't agree with Baucham's assessment because he believes the commandment is, quote, clearly referring to objects of worship and most likely specifically objects of worship that compete with God. Quote, but no one is worshiping the TV screen, and we're not claiming the show is the Bible or Jonathan is actually Jesus, and no one believes the portrayal is an object of worship or anything other than another way to illustrate and point people to truth, end quote, Jenkins wrote. So kind of again.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like the Muhammad thinking, the Islamic thinking of you can't make an illustration of Muhammad because it's idolatry.
Right.
I don't know if that sort of broad theological interpretation would be very well received by Christians as a whole, because surprise, surprise, there's lots of movies and TV shows that Jesus is illustrated in.
I mean, the full spectrum from the most accurate portrayals possible to just complete mockeries, right? So
yeah, it goes both ways.
On the scale, the AI Jesus probably sits, I don't know, somewhere in the middle. It's not the worst thing. Hey, people are going to learn about Jesus. Young people are going to learn about Jesus through AI Jesus. Sure. Let's get
sort of the image of the beast.
100% there's an image of the beast quality to this. Yeah, of course. I think that's where this is all leading, and I've said that for 10 years. But at the same time, I'm also thinking just short term, if that were to take place, it doesn't mean that you are buying into the beast system. If there are some young people that are using AI Jesus, I don't think you're damned to hell or something like that, But you're right. There will come a day when that will be the case. But
what if AI Jesus gets combined with WorldCoin?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And then COVID hits, and then you have to bow down to AI Jesus to get your WorldCoin.
Well, then there is
ID.
Yeah. Then prophecy is fulfilled. Then we have it. Really
you got to get a little barrect tattooed on your forehead.
Yeah.
Just super casual.
On the way.
Biden said it.
Yeah, there you go.
He was right.
All right. Well, another little update with AI. This is coming from MSN. It's mirroring from Metro. The headline: AI can now steal your passwords with 95% accuracy by listening to you type. Researchers have found an AI-driven attack that can steal passwords with up to 95% accuracy by listening to what you type on your keyboard. Cool. Cornell University researchers trained an AI model on the audio recordings of people typing, and the AI learned to identify the different sounds that each key makes. They tested it on a nearby phone's integrated microphone, listening for keystrokes on a MacBook Pro. When the microphone picked up the sound of the keystroke, the AI model could identify the key was pressed with 95% accuracy. The team took it further by testing the AI's ability to crack a password by listening to a Zoom call. In this test, the AI was 93% accurate in reproducing keystrokes over Skype. The model was 91.7% accurate. That's crazy. That's crazy.
What I want to know is why these kids at Cornell needed to grab the password of somebody, because that's where this all started.
Change their test scores, obviously. What, you never took a keystroke recorder to your teacher's computer to gain passwords and access to the grading software?
Yeah.
I thought this was just like a normal American college student experience.
Yeah, sure. Maybe for you, not for me. I must be part of the old guard. People used notebooks and stuff when I was in school. So,
oh my gosh,
I'm just an old man.
So, anyways, it tells you how to protect yourself from this attack.
Yeah,
but
how do you do it? How do you protect?
Yeah, just like play some music or something so it can't hear you.
Seriously, that's it?
Bleeping Computer recommends avoiding typing your password in altogether by using features like Windows Hello and Touch ID.
I got biometrics. That's how we get around this. They can listen to your password, so just give us your fingerprint or eyeball.
Yes, gotta do the face scan. Gotta bow down to the orb. It's the only way you won't get hacked. You can also use a password manager to generate and store strong passwords, blah, blah, blah. It's funny. They don't suggest just not typing in a password while you're on a Skype call. You know, you could just not put in your password while you're on a Skype call, but and that's the long and short of it. But very creative, these students working with their AI nonsense.
Yeah, I'm sure that would have been great for the final paper if they had actually, in fact, hacked, you know, like a teacher or some
I was going to say
database. That would really drive home the point of of their piece.
No matter how well they did presenting this project, they still got an A+.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's shift gears a little bit here and talk about some politics. Where's my politic? Oh, it's playing, but no sound. Hold on.
Oh, no.
Here we go. Let's try again. Let's talk about politics.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
Now suck your blood. Now suck
Politics.
your blood.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Hairy. Got hairy legs. Hairy.
COVID.
Now, I feel like we've avoided politics for the most part for a few weeks. I don't know. I get a little burnt out from, it's a little boring. There's a lot of drama because we're coming into an election year and all that. But there's some things going on with Hunter Biden that we've covered on and off. The story here, this is from CNN. This is a clip from Jake Tapper. And the first thing I want to point out, the segment or the little, the segment that they have here, they have a panel of speakers that they all speak on this issue. The chyron at the bottom reads, "Drag on Dad." Now, it's talking about Joe Biden because the story is about Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden, a potential 2024 blind spot for President Biden's re-election campaign. But also, drag on Dad, if you just put the word drag and on together, it says Dragon Dad. Is Joe Biden the Dragon Dad? The CNN telling us through weird sub-headlines that Joe is a lizard person? I don't know. But here's Jake Tapper.
I thought you were going to say drag on Dad like Joe Biden's in drag.
Oh, that could be it too. Yeah. See, that's why there's two of us. That's why
drag queen story hour with Papa Biden.
Joe and Hunter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the clip. It's about a minute and a half, and there's a line in here that I never thought I would hear from Jake Tapper's lips.
And Kristen, Glenn Kessler from the Washington Post had a fact check about Joe Biden from earlier this month, noting that Hunter Biden admitted in court in July that he was in fact paid substantial sums from Chinese companies. Kessler wrote, Hunter Biden reported nearly $2.4 million in income in 2017 and $2.2 million in income in 2018, most of which came from Chinese or Ukrainian interests. But this directly goes against what Joe Biden said in the debate in 2020 with Donald Trump. Take a listen.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about what are you talking about? China.
Once you
None of that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
So it's from two different debates, but I mean, Trump was right. I mean, he did make a fortune from China, and Joe Biden was wrong. I don't know that he was lying about it. He might not have been told by Hunter, but this blind spot is a problem.
It's a problem, one, because Republicans aren't going to let it go, that's for sure. But also, these problems are continuing through the legal system. It's not as though this is something that's been settled in other jurisdictions and Republicans are just harping on it. It is an ongoing thing in our courts. It's not going anywhere.
This is a blind spot. Does it concern you as a Democrat?
Well, I think dads have sometimes, and parents sometimes have blind spots about their kids, for sure, and the president may be no exception. But nothing has tied the president to any of Hunter Biden's dealings. There's no whiff of him being involved or him being implicated in it.
Wow.
And it's, I think it's not something the voters care a lot about.
Well, he might be right about that in the end.
In the end, sure.
Democratic voters do not really care, but it's because they got their own blind spots. Wow, who's fact checking CNN around here? Never thought I'd hear those words from CNN, especially Jake Tapper.
Trump was
right.
I was like, whoa, what's going on here? What's that? And Joe Biden was wrong. Like, what? What dimensional shift has happened? What did you do with Jake Tapper?
Yeah, that's trippy.
Maybe he ceased to exist. This is a clone. I mean, that's the only thing I can. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, they're trying to set somebody up. I mean, of course, we know that the Democrat Party is trying so viciously to figure out what to do about Joe.
They're probably
what to
begging
do about
Gavin.
Joe. Yeah, I heard some inklings about Gavin. That sounds horrific.
That sounds terrible. I know. There's a part of me that the sort of self-deprecating part of me wants everybody, the whole nation, to experience the Gavin Newsom science.
Yeah,
people would understand.
Sadism. You want everybody to feel the same pain that you feel every day.
Yes. So there's that part of that, but I've been hearing Michelle Obama. That conversation doesn't go away. Who knows? But they're trying to avoid RFK Jr., which is really funny, as much as possible. Right. Trump is sort of, I don't know, it's just so up in the air right now. But I think CNN. What's interesting to me about the CNN clip is the fact that Jake Tapper used the formula of conservative political commentators. You say a few things, you play a clip that shows your evidence, and then you comment on it. And a lot of political shows do that. And so I thought that was interesting. It's like, he kind of does what the alt media sort of does. They play the clips and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I know it's not that much of a thing.
It's even more precise than that. It is playing a clip in context, which they rarely do. Yeah. Playing a clip in context and then saying something true about it.
Right.
Instead of, wiggling around trying to justify whatever Democrat it is at whatever cost, or to twist whatever Republican's words. To the really incredible thing about Jake Tapper playing a clip and saying Trump is right is not necessarily that it's so poignant and we've never heard this before, or it's a fresh take. It's that he simply said something so simple.
Yeah.
It was such a simple thing to say without dodging and weaving and like doing crazy acrobatics to try to justify Biden. I mean, the very fact that he didn't justify Biden really makes me worry for Biden's safety.
But what does it mean though for if the mainstream media turns on Biden, like 100% is like, hey, he's too old, whatever. What happens? What's like the default that happens? Is it Kamala? Is it, so it's kind of interesting.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's the media is just preparing the public for whatever the Democratic Party has in store, whatever they have planned, and we don't know that yet. We'll be discovering it soon. I mean, this year is moving faster than any year I've ever. It feels like it's moving even faster than 2020 when we were all locked in our houses.
Yeah.
This year is moving even. We're going to blink and suddenly it'll be 2024, and there will, the Democratic Party will be announcing a nominee, and we might be somebody we haven't even heard of yet. It's going to be weird.
I think we're going to have some interesting movement in the next few months here. Speaking of Trump here, because it's sort of adjacent Trump.
We will launch a new age. I am innocent. Innocent. They're coming after me.
It always startles me how loud that last part is in the clip, the little jingle there. Trump, of course, president, 45th president, might be related to Homer Trump. Do you know who Homer Trump is, Basil?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, Homer Trump. Wasn't he like a time-traveling child or something?
I have no idea. But Homer Trump is the name on the airships that were drawn in the last century. I think it was like the 1920s and before by Del Shaw. Del Shaw was a painter. And I'm showing, for people watching, I'm showing them on the screen here. Yeah, they're just airships. They're drawings of these airships that he allegedly saw. And for some reason, there's a bunch of Trump ones. There's like the Trump train, and there's like a Trump hot air balloon and stuff like that. So, and of course, Fred Trump received the Tesla papers. So,
yeah.
And some people believe Trump is the Antichrist figure, the sort of false light deceiving the world. So in that context here, Salon.com, our collective malady, Donald Trump's mental health crisis is America's problem. This is a little throwback to just some good old classic Trump hate. It's been a while since we did like a true Trump hate article. I don't even want to read the whole thing, but there's just some parts that are, let's just hear what Salon has to say real quick here. To properly respond to Donald Trump and the level of extreme danger he represents, especially as he faces multiple criminal prosecutions, requires understanding some specific aspects of Trump's behavior and motivations. Trump has shown a wide range of pathological behavior over the past 7 years or so. He has an unhealthy fascination with violence. He lacks impulse control and empathy. He revels in cruelty. He compulsively lies and exhibits traits of malignant narcissism. He's a confirmed sexual predator and misogynist. He has a tenuous relationship to reality and increasingly retreats into victimology and a persecution complex. He believes himself to be almost literally superhuman and often behaves like a cult leader. In my many conversations with mental health experts during the age of Trump, that age is capitalized, by the way, age of Trump.
Proper noun.
Yeah. One of their consistent themes has been the suggestion that if the ex-president was not a rich white man, he would likely have been arrested or otherwise removed from normal society decades ago. Trump's pathological behavior is in no way separate from his role as leader of the neo-fascist MAGA movement and larger white right. He says that a lot, white right. One repeated error made by the mainstream. You got to pay attention, Basil, because they're talking like us now. One repeated error made by the mainstream media and the larger political class is to divide Trump's obvious mental health issues from his political behavior and the ascendancy of his movement. Do you understand now? That's what the mainstream media's mistake was.
Dude, this is like, what are we, back in 2016 or something?
What I'm saying. It's a good throwback. Fascism.
This is so old school.
I know, this person's stuck in some weird time bubble from 2016, 2017. Fascism and other forms of illiberal politics are not merely political problems. In reality, such things are a societal force and imaginary that both harness and generate collective mass sociopathy and other forms of physical, emotional, psychological, intellectual, and spiritual pathology. Sick societies produce sick leaders. Sick leaders have sick followers. In combination, those forces produce sick political movements. Doesn't that sound like the whole Democratic Party the last 20 years?
I was going to say, I was saving the comment, but every single thing so far that's been said could be applied to Joe Biden and the Democrats. Which
I think is the hilarious thing about this in 2023, reading this. Are you that blind to the fact that his own party, this guy writing, is what he talks about here, is describing?
He has to be intentionally lying or daft to not get the irony of what he's saying.
Collectively, these are manifestations of a condition of malignant normality that can all too easily end in societal destruction. Maybe like the Russian space probe that just
where society is going to blink out of existence.
And then he quotes a bunch of stuff here. He talks to FBI people. Trump's projections and his evidently unstable behavior may provide insight and map onto what he and his followers will do next. They're just kind of trying to profile what we're going to do, not we, but just people in general who are MAGA are going to do next, up to and including potential acts of political violence in response to his impending criminal trials amid the 2024 presidential campaigns. And I think that's going to be a big story next year. I think we're going to get your sort of your typical January 6th type of stuff, but like everywhere. And sort of not informants, but operatives, doing staging different kind of protests and things that might get violent in some locations. And I think they're just going to blame Trump, and they'll bring that around, 10x that whole thing. So
yeah, well, it's an election year.
It's an election year,
yeah,
so of course
that's going to happen.
But it's just interesting to hear them say, we're basically, what this guy is saying is we're profiling all those MAGA people because they're going to be violent this next year. They're like setting it all up. Right. It's like, okay. And it says here, I asked Dr. Mark Goulston, a prominent psychiatrist, former FBI hostage negotiation trainer, and author of bestsellers Just Listen and Talking to Crazy, for his insights into Trump's inflammatory rhetoric and what it reveals about the ex-president's state of mind. He responded by email. This is part of his response. If we took out the words of Joe or Biden from his rants and asked non-dictator world leaders to choose whom they seem to describe more accurately, Biden or Trump, I'm guessing most would say it's a better description of Trump and what he is or would do to America. So even to the untrained eye, it is clear that Trump is projecting a lot of negativity on Biden. If that is so, what lies beneath? One of the things Trump cannot tolerate is feeling powerless or helpless, which triggers something called impotent rage. That is the rage of powerlessness, and the more powerless and now imperiled he feels, the greater his rage. The more Trump is feeling destroyed by the indictments, the more he needs to destroy Biden. Trump is a gambler, and not a very effective one, given his real financial dealings from the past several decades. His current gamble is that he will be reelected so he can pardon himself for everything and create a Justice Department to do his bidding, or that if another Republican is elected, they will pardon him for fear of alienating Trump's base. Or if he believes he didn't lose the 2020 elections, a more likely possibility is that he can't believe he lost to Joe Biden. He could convince himself that he isn't paranoid, but that Biden, the deep state, and the Justice Department are truly out to get him, which would justify his mind as attacking them before they destroy him.
Yeah. Wow. It is crazy how quickly my brain just sort of tunes out listening to
it's crazy.
This is Salon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Salon never stopped with this.
the
I'm
money
so
must
surprised.
Be pumping in from the same source or something.
What it is when CNN turned the corner and they were trying to, level things out. And past couple of years, all the really extreme left outlets were like kind of trying to return to sanity a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of where they saw the money going.
Swinging, culturally.
Salon never changed. They stayed as sort of the unhinged conspiracy theorist, fear-mongering, ad hominem nonsense outlet. It's really hard to get through their stuff.
Well, it's funny because
most of this is block quotes too. It's crazy.
It's crazy. And of course, it's Trump's denial of reality and primitive projections, which is hilarious because this entire outlet and the author and everybody seems to be denying reality to some level, and also our primitive projections in the context of 2023, comparing it to 2017 or 2016. So anyway,
and hitting the leftist sort of dog whistles like mental health, making it about a mental health crisis. Oh, his mental health crisis will be our crisis. Oh, it's very impolite the way that they're doing it. It's crazy.
It must be one of those things where it takes one to know one or something, By the way, just real quick, as a side note, have you seen John Fetterman with the new look, the stash?
No.
We got to cover that next episode.
Does he have a mustache now?
I think so, yeah. I don't know if it's a legit picture or not. I didn't really do a deep dive, but I did see some photos of John Fetterman.
Did I see a meme with John Fetterman with a mustache?
I don't think it was a meme. I think it was a real photo. But yeah, I think he's got a stash going. He's got a new look, because before he had the goatee with the shaved upper lip, but now he's got the shaved chin, upper lip. I don't know, man. We'll talk about it sometime.
Okay. I just searched John Fetterman mustache. Yeah, there he is. Oh, weird. Crazy.
Doesn't even look like him.
I like it.
guy.
I like the look. It's a much better look than the goatee. Makes him look about 20 years older.
Yeah, maybe that's
and
what they're going
like
for.
He's been a politician the whole time. He looks like Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad.
Are you looking at the side by side there? There's like a side by side.
No. Is there a side by side?
I think so.
Oh. Yes, there is right there. Yeah, that is him. Yeah. All right. John Fetterman's going to start cooking meth. Sounds good.
I think we figured it out. Another one for the Red Book, I suppose.
Gons, you and I are going to have to start cooking meth if we don't think some producers here soon. It's going to be the only way to keep the show going. So let's start out. Do we have any voicemails from anybody?
We do, yeah. Let's do some speak.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
I don't know how I feel about transitioning from talking about cooking or mentioning cooking meth, moving into speak pipes, talking about pipes. Not,
yeah,
I don't know if it's genius or if it's crazy.
It's the Hunter Biden hour.
Hunter Biden hour. All right, go to canarycrynewstalk.com, and on any of the pages there, you'll see a green tab on the right side or the bottom. Click on it, and it'll open a little window that allows you to record an audio message of up to 90 seconds. And as long as it is relevant to the show, we will play it. And you can also record pre-show prayers there as well. Thank you to Canary BB for the pre-show prayer. He also came in with the regular speak pipe here. So here's Canary BB.
Okay, so another thought for the blocking out the sun thing. They're talking about putting a parachute on a meteor or something to block the sun. So it's going to go outside the atmosphere. Have you guys ever been driving down the highway and there's a fly in your car? You roll down the window. That fly, you can fly as long as the window's down. Anyway, I'd apologize. Have a good day. Yes.
Is he talking about because the Earth is allegedly flying through space at 100,000 miles an hour?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That,
well,
it would not operate the same way out there, or it would just blow away.
Yeah.
According to,
I think they'll make some sort of scientist would make some sort of comment about gravity. Problem is gravity even real? Just asking questions, folks.
Is it
asking
questions?
It's
a vacuum. It's supposed to be a vacuum, right? So we're moving through a vacuum.
Yeah, if there's no wind, then you're not blown away. And depending on how far away you get from the planet, you would allegedly stay within the gravitational field, which is why the moon stays with us and doesn't fly away.
Allegedly.
I'm just saying, that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson told me, folks. I'm not here to get in an argument with anybody.
All right. Thanks for that, Canary BB. We also got something from the Sentinel.
Hey, Basil and Gons and Canary Cry family. I really need your guys' help to share the gospel with this guy that I met. So, long story short, he took some mushrooms, had some crazy visions, and, understands that there's a whole nother realm out there, another dimension, and that he says he's seen God, and he's seen all of these things that are just completely unimaginable, undescribable. Eternity, right, has a whole new meaning to him. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I believe that what you're seeing is real. But, let's get this conversation towards Jesus. And I didn't know what would be good resources to connect him with or to provide to him to help him frame his experience inside the truth and, have the anchor point back to the truth and help him understand who Jesus is. So I didn't know if you guys could help me find any of those or point me in the right direction to give those to him. He has no experience with the New Age, though, so I don't want to point him in that direction. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, I'll say this. First of all, it sounds like he took a lot of mushrooms. This sounds like a Janet Yellen level mushroom experience. Yeah. I'll start out by saying, plan on playing a long game with this one. The long game is going to be the way to go. Someone who comes out of that kind of experience, their sort of mind is blown, and it's pretty much all they're going to be thinking about for like a while. Yeah. And they're going to go through a few different iterations. It's going to be kind of a slow process of moving the sort of interpretation of his experiences in a direction. So I'll start by saying, do not expect, and give yourself some grace, and do not expect to be able to talk him, to convince him about anything in one or even two or even three conversations.
Yeah, conversations or resources. It's usually. And
I'm going to give it to you, Gons, in a second, because you'll have some very practical advice. I'll give a little bit more emotional advice. Also, something for you to always remember is, Jesus is capable of revealing himself to anyone at any point. And a lot of times as Christians, we kind of take it upon ourselves to carry the what we might think of as failure if somebody doesn't get saved when we, are ministering to them. But just remember, it's all about seeds. And, it might take this guy a couple of years, maybe many years, and probably more mushrooms, but eventually Jesus will get him on the Lord's timing there. But if you're looking for, practical sources or advice, I'm sure they're out there. Gons, what do you say?
Well, my first thought is, did he say that he saw Jesus? Was that part of what he was mentioning there?
We might have to play it again. It sounds, well, he saw God.
He saw God. Is that what it was? Okay.
I don't remember if it was Jesus particularly.
Okay.
But I will say for those people who I have met who have had some pretty extreme mushroom experiences, as of now, most of them did eventually make it to Jesus, or Jesus made it to them.
Hey, I'm a testament to that. I took a lot of mushrooms when I was in college, and turned out all right. Things kind of worked out.
Yeah. So Jesus has got a plan, but as far as how you feel you can adequately participate, that'll be a really good question.
I think what really matters is his prior knowledge base, not just his experiences, but also his knowledge base. So did he grow up in church? Is he an atheist? Like, those things kind of matter, I think, when you want to give him resources. But if they have any experience in church, I would point them towards more of like the Dr. Mike Heiser unseen realm stuff, because that might explain the biblical infrastructure surrounding that topic
for what he's actually experienced.
Right. And sort of maybe he can place, it's kind of like a grid, and he can put in place, like, okay, this is what I saw. This is what I might have not wanted to see, but saw, and whatever. But it's kind of hard to not, if they're just coming at it from, hey, I'm just a guy, and maybe an atheist or something, Buddhist. It's a little different, because it just kind of depends. Like for me, What are you gonna say?
Well, I was going to say just a quick comment. I want to hear what you were going to say. But it might be interesting while you're having conversations with him, like hearing more about his experiences, and, pray that the Lord kind of shows you some connections, because his mind is kind of blown right now, and he has a lot of very specific experiences and images that he's sort of reckoning with. And if the Lord can show you a connection between what he's sharing with you and truth, that would be a very powerful way to do it. Now a lot of times there's not something obvious, but the Lord is with you, my friend. He can show you some connections for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, the experiences I had, it was a very, I'm connecting with nature. That was the kind of feeling I had. I remember one of the very first times that I experienced it. We were in kind of like a garden area at the University of Irvine, and I felt like they had these kind of wild plants, and the plants, it felt like they were talking. I'll just say that. And of course, it didn't occur to me till much later that I was like, oh, isn't there a thing in the Bible about like a bush talking to Moses or something like that, or Abraham? Like I was going through that in my mind, but it didn't occur to me till later. Like after I was saved even. So, but then relaying back to that experience, it was kind of like, okay, so these are spiritual experiences. It's not necessarily, based on the psilocybin, that could be the assistant or whatever, but they're spiritual experiences as a whole. So I think in that context, be aware that people are going to have different experiences, and different life experiences will shape the context of what they saw or experienced. But just be there for the guy, because he'll probably have some questions. And as you discuss things, just be a partner, don't like condemn him and that kind of thing.
Right.
But just sort of be there. And I think that's going to be more valuable than any specific resource. But I'll try to think of something that's more specific. There's a lot of
resources are tough. I'm trying to think of like resources, and that's a little tougher because most of the psychedelic writings are in the sort of new age context.
Right.
There's sort of very few that I can think of between psychedelic writings in a Christian context.
Somebody in our community probably has, or multiple people in our community probably have different resources that they can point to. So, anyway, there you go. The Sentinel, looking for some advice.
Some stuff in the chat here. One Lousy Petunia says, address the heart matters. I love how the first time Jesus speaks in the Gospel of John, he asks, what are you seeking? That's a pretty good place to start. That's always a good place to start.
Yeah.
What exactly are you looking for, sir?
That's a good point.
Thank you very much, the Sentinel.
Yep. Okay, we got one more here from Rochelle.
Happy Friday, Canarians.
That's Friday.
As you can hear, I have something that is not allowing my air passages to flow freely, unmolested. But don't worry, I don't believe in COVID. So it's not that. I'm not going to attempt to sing this right now, but I do want to read this to you. It's called Light Up My Life. Light up my life, strip me of strife. God is my guide, my demons will hide. His blood has saved me, broken, bruised on a tree. The perfect Son came down, now he has earned his crown. Light up my life, make me your wife. For us you have died, perfection will abide. His blood was the key, for him I live on my knees. The remnant hears the sound, they put on their white gown. Light up my life. Sometimes truth is a knife. As our worlds collide, bury my pride. You've made the blind see. What will be, will be. To the future I'm bound. My soul has been found. Light up my life. The ocean is wide. He controls the tide. Salvation comes with a fee, but Jesus gives it for free. Our sins he will drown. His righteousness abound. Light up my life. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Rochelle. That was wonderful.
That was great. And it was good to hear from Rochelle. I think it's been a few episodes without her.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Sorry to hear you're not feeling well.
Yeah. Hopefully, that was Friday, so hopefully she's feeling better now. But let's thank some producers.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Yep, that's right. We're value for value, folks. If you get any value out of what we do here, think about putting some value in. It's the only way we survive. And, just like the name says, if we stop creating value and we stop receiving value, we'll know. We'll know that the job is finished. But today's not that day. We got a few people to thank. Starting with Rachel M. Rachel M. came in and joined the Patreon. Thank you very much, Rachel M. Nice round number.
Thank you, Rachel M.
Yep. We also had, some of these are from last week.
Sure.
We also had producer G&G.
G&G.
Yeah, came in, so again, supporting the Patreon. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, we're also on Patreon if you guys, if anybody wants to do that. We don't talk about the Patreon much.
Remember when everybody went to Patreon? That was like the waves of YouTube exodus. That was one big one when everyone jumped on Patreon. It was like, oh.
Yeah,
and
they
then
almost
started
kicked us off.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was going to say
they almost kicked us off. Yeah, because we had some Q. We talked about
mentioned
Q.
the letter Q, and they were like,
yeah.
we shall not have it. Yeah, but yeah. Thank you very much.
Next up, we got producer Jacob B is back. Jacob B. Thank you very much, Jacob B. Comes in for 1111.
1111.
Guns. We made a whoopsie daisies. We didn't play the Rochelle bumper.
Oh.
Gotta remember we have the Rochelle bumper.
Hold on. Let me see if it's even in the right spot.
Yeah, we gotta make sure we have these things. While you look for that, Jacob B sent a note, and the note is, I am feeling the power of producing. Yep, I'll sleep good tonight, he says. Thank you very much, Jacob B.
Thank you, Jacob B.
It's good. It's clinically proven. Producing Canary Cry News Talk is good for insomnia, shingles, boredom, feelings of listlessness. Next up, we've got producer Malik W. Comes in.
Thank you very much.
Pocket full of 7s, and he is now on a 9-episode streak.
We're doing streak. Okay, hold on.
Oh, which is something.
9 episodes is lit.
Where'd you find this?
Hey, you lit now.
You lit now, Malik. Thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you. Hold on, before you go
next
forward.
Up,
let's just do this Rochelle bumper because we need to make good on it.
Whee! There we go. Sorry about that, Rochelle. Thanks for the reminder, everybody. Yes. All right. Next up, we got Sir Alex Protocol V2 Night of the Berean Protocol comes in for a pocket full of 7s, 205 episodes in a row.
205.
Oh, yeah.
Streakalicious.
Next up, we got producer Timothy P. Timothy P comes in. Producer Timothy P comes in for $33.
Illuminatus! We see you.
Illuminatus.
Thank you, Timothy P.
Yes, thank you, Timothy P. That concludes our list of producers who came in above $7.77, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We got a few people came under the $7 mark, and we'll thank them now. They're all on streaks. They're all very good-looking and brave, starting with producer Veronica D, 296 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Veronica D. Wow.
Yes. Next up is Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 324 episodes in a row. Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 335 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's, 293 in a row.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
Actually, I think that's 294. We got Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots, 267 episodes in a row.
Sir Moore of this is crazy.
Impressive. Impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Streakalicious.
Women rule.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Boy.
What?
Nothing. Sorry. I'm laughing at my own self here. We can get funny emails sometimes. Got it. All right. Yeah, that's it. That concludes the list of financial producers. Thank you guys so much. We can only survive because of the financial producers. This show would not exist without the financial producers. So if you're out there, maybe you've produced before, it's been a long time, you kept getting value. How many episodes? This is let me preamble. This is not to sort of guilt anybody into anything. This is an entirely voluntary process. Entirely voluntary. But how many episodes has it been? How many episodes has it been since you've produced? I know we got some producers out here where they start getting, 10, 12, 15 episodes under their belt. They start getting antsy. And they got to produce the show. Some people have gone 657 episodes, and that's fine. We get it. But just something to think about. All right, Guns. We got some talented producers, do we not?
We do. If you want to help us build the culture behind the community, you can produce the show with your talent, your God-given talent. And we're going to kick it off with some audio production.
Audio production.
All right, so we're going to kick things off with John. And John, I believe John was, I think he may have been the one that was sending stuff to a social media account or something, and then I think we got it all straightened out. So John comes in. He's got a note here. Came here from the Truth is Stranger Than Fiction YouTube channel. So glad I did on my 5th episode to be played as desired or when news media is giddy over UFOs. So we got
awesome
John here. Actually, I think these are videos. Yeah, technically these are videos. So there's an audio element to this, but there's also a video element to this. This first one here, I guess I'll play the whole thing. It's a song about a minute 45.
How long is it?
Minute 45. It's not the longest
Why not
thing.
Play it at the end of the show?
Oh, we can do it, but there's visual to it, so it's yeah.
Well, play a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I want to see it too. Not that I don't want to see it, but when somebody comes in with something over a minute, we put it on the mixtape at the end of the show.
Okay, so here we go.
Is it a story or is
it's a song?
Sorry,
it's a song. It's a cover song, I would say.
Okay,
here we go. So, by the way, for people listening, there's an image of the Terminator in kind of a shadowy skeleton version of the Terminator on the screen.
Can you spell my name? Flippi.
Do you know the song, Basil?
No.
You do not.
I'm the new job taker. I'm a new job taker. Hey humans, see you later. I'm a new job taker. Got a computer for a brain, I'm connected to the cloud. If you get in my way, you might get disemboweled. Burger flipping Terminator. I'm the new job taker. Suspended from the ceiling and a screen for a face. Programmed to flip a burger and enslave the human race. It's time to meet your maker. I'm the new job taker. You can't hide, and you can't run. But if you kneel before me, you can put lettuce on the buns. I'm the new slave maker. I'm the new slave maker. Hey, freedom, see you later. I'm the new slave maker.
I'm going to get a copyright strike for this. Which is okay.
Yeah, you went for the whole thing there, Guns.
Well,
that is very funny. So what song is that? Is it not over? Are we going?
It's over. It's over.
Okay. What song is that?
This is a song. This is the Excavator song by a children's show called Blippi. Do you know about Blippi?
Oh, I've heard of Flippy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, he's got orange glasses. He wears kind of like a blue orange hat thing. It's actually a live person, a guy that just wore this costume and like went around and showed kids about, made videos for kids about tractors and fire trucks and police cars. And the reason why I know is because my son is into this right now. He's 2 years old. He's into the songs. So I know that song. So when I heard the song, I was like, no way. He's took the Excavator song and turned it into the Flippy song, which makes sense because
that's
Blippi. And by the way, I say Flippy. Like when my son wants to hear, I want to hear this Blippi song. I go, yeah, the Flippy songs. Yeah, the Flippy song. We got it. So even I get it all mixed up. But yes, I'm an excavator. I know all the words. And thank you for that entertaining moment.
Thank you very much, John. I'm glad we got that. And look at that. You got the special treatment. We played the whole thing here right in the middle of the show. That was, I highly encourage people to write or rewrite songs about Flippy. I mean, when the robots come, and we have a whole collection of songs about the robots.
Oh yeah, instant classic.
It'll buy us some time. It'll buy us some time to slip out the back door.
Yeah, yeah. Listen to this while we leave. He also had this little 8-second clip here.
The last 24 hours have been really exciting.
Yeah, so,
That's fun. I like that one.
Little update kind of thing. So thank you very much, John. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Jonathan F.
Jonathan F.
Short note that says, hello, just more weekly Brando stuff.
Is America First policy walking away from the rest of the world is made us weaker, not stronger? Politely ask the press to leave.
Wow.
Thank you for coming in.
Time to get serious.
I didn't capture all that. What was the thing? It's labeled here, Biden does not feel confident in general presser, but confident when helping globalism. That's what it's labeled here.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't know what you're asking. What did he say in the whole thing?
Yeah, the clip. What was the big thing? I haven't paid attention to Biden flubs.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been watching clips of him either.
Oh. Well, I guess we're all moving on. Jonathan F. is the only one watching Joe Biden.
Just play it again. It's 8 seconds.
Is America First policy walking away from the rest of the world is made us weaker, not stronger?
I get it. So he said America First is making us weaker. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Good job, Joe. Nice work. Jonathan F., thank you for that. We will not be informed about the many Biden flubs if it weren't for the Jonathan
You can only catch so many.
I know. You start to burn out a little
cats in a windstorm.
Sure. All right. Thank you very much for that, Jonathan F. All right. We got Marty B here. He has a note that says, the grandkids keep dragging this one out. Would you consider playing it sometimes on NMix? And it's Salvation. I'll play a few seconds here.
Yeah.
This one we'll play the whole thing at the end because it's a little longer.
Yeah, he's...
Go ahead.
He sent us this one before, right? We've heard this one.
Think so?
There's this new one. I think he's... Yeah, we'll play it at the Canary Crime mixtape at the end of the show.
Yeah, I'll definitely play it for you, Marty B.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you, Marty B. Okay, we're going to move on to some art here.
One art, please.
No?
You missed one. There's another one from Marty B.
Another one from Marty B. What did I miss from Marty B?
Yep. Came in today.
Okay.
On the sheet. This one's good. This one's important. We got to have this one.
Okay. Well, let me pull it up. Did not do all of my due diligence.
You're in big trouble.
Yeah, well.
Good thing we have this very handy dandy spreadsheet, folks. And the spreadsheet makes it so easy for Gons to get what he needs quickly on air live. And you can put your art on the spreadsheet by going to canarycry.art. Canarycry.art. That's where you can upload whatever art you make. It could be music, could be graphic art, could be whatever. Go to canarycry.art, upload it there. And then Guns can find it so fast, so quick, so smooth, live on air.
It's not loading. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Oh, we got stuff from Little Owen, too. There's a bunch. No, this is from February. What is going on? It's not loading right now, Basil. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to it in the appropriate amount of time.
I wonder if I can play it.
Yeah,
this is an important one. Hold on.
Not loading.
Not loading, you say. Okay, let me switch my speakers. Let's see if this... You got it?
No. I'm almost there.
Okay.
I'm in June. We got to flip this thing around, man. I hate scrolling down all the time to look.
Okay, you're going to hear some birds. You're going to hear some birds because that's just my VR headset thing. But here, your sheet's not even loading. Okay, here is from Marty B. It's called Circasey.
Circasey, is you right?
I like it. Yep, I love it.
Hey.
Yeah.
Look at me, and I helped.
Yeah.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight. We got him. We got a jingle for Sir Casey the Shield Knight. Let's do it again.
Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
Might be the first jingle for somebody who primarily produces financially.
Yeah, it's true. So we're going to play
so
this.
Now he's got his very own streak jingle.
Oh, I love it. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Marty B. Appreciate that. Sorry, I didn't catch that. It looks like it came in today. Yeah, today.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have an opportunity to go over the sheet today. So, all right. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to some art.
One art, please.
And of course, we have something from Sir Dove.
One art piece from Dove.
And let me make sure that I am showing the piece on the screen. And he has a note here. Piece for today's artwork. I did a flyer design for the 2nd annual Reno, Nevada meetup next month. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you. And Dove.
Yeah, this is a great one. We got the Canary Cry Reno, the biggest little meetup in the world. And of course, we're going back to the neon days of Reno, sort of casino neon font here. Canary Cry Reno 2, giant 2. We got some neon canary faces. We got a canary cowboy down in the bottom right-hand side here. He's giving a wink and tipping his hat to all you skaters. He's wearing a very cool shirt. With repeating pattern of roller skates, because the Canary Cry meetup will be at Roller Kingdom, September 9th, 3 p.m. If you zoom in on those skates, the skates on the shirt have googly eyes and a cute little tongue sticking out. And of course, this is to come battle the Church of Skaten. The Church of Skaten. Depending on what happens with Burning Man, this will be right around the Burning Man thing too. So I will be looking into what it would take to show up and do some battling of the Church of Skaten with the Reno folks. Very cool. Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove. And the meetups page is updated with this art. So go check it out. CanaryCryMeetups.com.
CanaryCryMeetups.com.
Okay, I think that's it for the art. I don't think we had anything else. But we do have some microfiction.
Microfiction.
Time.
Microfiction.
And we have one from Runk Smash.
Pulled by a massive Spot 4.2, a trio of feral cyborg bottle children clamor and shriek in their war wagon, yearning to consume the organo who has violated their sanctuary. The dogbot's head arm opens the cage as soon as the target is in range.
This is got like a Dr. Seuss feel, a little bit.
I was thinking more of a Mad Max feel, but I guess
well,
it's
that too. Yeah, sure.
It's kind of a Mad Maxian Dr. Seuss mashup. I love it. Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
That's our ticket. That's our ticket out. Our retirement. We got to put together the.
Ooh, Mad Max Dr. Seuss. Yeah. I keep thinking that if I ever want to make anything of my life, I need to start writing children's books.
By the way, all the children's songs, I bring it up also because I've been just randomly humming random children's songs just because I'm with my kid all the time. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if I record this, I can make millions of dollars just making songs about trucks and trees and airplanes and excavators and backhoes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Continue. Yes, we were having the same thought, but continue.
Problem is we're cisgendered, Gons.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for a cisgendered man to come up with any government-approved children's material these days.
That's true. You're right. Yeah. Might be a dead dream, but we can still dream.
Your audio does keep blinking in and out. I don't know if this is going to be a problem for everybody. It is still a problem for the live viewers, and it is a problem for me, but it's always been a problem for me. It's almost like your gate or maybe compression or something keeps freaking out.
Well,
I don't really know.
My son does turn all my knobs every single day. So
yeah,
it's, no matter how much I dial it in, it gets
these
changed.
kids. Yeah. These kids, they really turn your knobs.
All right, we have one from Stefan S as well. So there's that. Let's do that real quick.
The robot arm's blade dripped with blood. It stood motionless for hours until its creator came into range to troubleshoot. Suddenly, it twirled and stabbed menacingly. His bleeding body twitched to stillness for the duration of the live stream. This was very good. Thank you, Stefan S. And in regards to the TikToker, it was a Flippy update a while back, the TikToker who created a robotic arm holding a knife that his live viewers control. Okay, thank you very much. I think that's it for the creative producers. Thank you guys for participating in this part of the show. This part of the show, I'll say this, a lot of people, they come for the news and they don't really, stick around for the community part of it. I will tell you, for me and Gons, we could not make it through 3 hours of news without having a little community time here, getting entertained by some artists, having some one-on-one with the producers. So thank you guys so much for that. Again, if you're a creative person, create something for the show, then go to canarycry.art, canarycry.art, where you can upload it and we can put it on the show. Or if you have an article you'd like us to consider to read on the show, go to canarycry.report, canarycry.report. It's all a good time. Go check it out.
All right. Let's bring the final cold, weird story.
So a new discovery. Antarctica.
Antarctica in the bottom of our planet. Advanced Antarctica.
Climate crisis. Penguins.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
I know you feel like you're being watched, Basil, especially after this story.
Yeah. Yeah, this was crazy. Sorry, scrolling. There it is. This is, here's the thing, folks. Antarctica.
Yeah.
Is it a continent? Maybe, probably. Is it a movement? Is it a tool for the elites to signal to the rest of the world the plans for a white liberal utopia, a place where Democrats can be Democrats and Republicans can be dead, the place where we'll finally see all of our most ludicrous utopian ideas about what the world can be like? That's what Antarctica's for.
You want to hear my little blurb about it, Antarctica?
You made a blurb.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's
Antarctica, what did you do?
The final frontier, the woke white desert, where Nephilim penguins roam amidst the abandoned Nazi bases and the opening to the hollow earth as seen by Admiral Byrd. Some believe it's just a wall.
It's a good start. It's a great start. You got a lot in there. It's a good start.
Okay.
I like it.
All right.
This is coming from, for some unknown reason, a website called gearrice.com. They have tabs such as Tech World, Best Deals, Gaming, Mobile Zone, Smart Home. And this article from Arthur Morgan entitled, "Why Do Some Doctors Remove Their Appendix Before Going to Antarctica?"
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was all for, Guns. All the pain, all the absentia, all the drugs. It was all to prepare me to go to Antarctica. Yeah, well, let's find out why.
For new listeners, Basil was out for the entire month of June, I think. Was it June or July?
May and half of June.
May and half of June for a whole month. out because of
extremely complicated, near deadly appendicitis.
Appendicitis.
Yeah. Appendicitis burst. It was in the wrong spot. Got sepsis. It was a nightmare. Yeah. But yes, I was out for a long time this summer.
It's all coming together now.
The whole time, I was asking myself, why God, why me? We've all asked that question, and here it is. I've also been trying to go to Antarctica for years now, and apparently it's a good idea to get your appendix out before you go to Antarctica. To travel to some countries, you have to get your passport or a vaccine. Wow, that voice almost killed me just then. But removing the appendix hadn't even crossed our minds. Working in Antarctica is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, although if you are a doctor, it requires going through the operating room. Requires. And not to work, but to have your appendix removed. According to Science Alert, the position of doctor in some scientific bases in Antarctica requires that the doctor have the appendix removed, either for a previous operation or before accepting the position. The appendix is a segment of the large intestine, a vestige of evolution, which today has no use, but it can become inflamed, which is very painful. And if not removed, cause an infection. Which causes peritonitis in the stomach. Which is fatal. Yes, it is. Why do doctors remove the appendix before going to Antarctica? The reason why, this is probably written by AI, by the way, the reason why doctors travel to Antarctica with appendix surgery explains I guess that's a quote. Come on, AI. Explains the Australian Antarctic Program website, quote, "This is because there is normally only one doctor on station during the winter. Evacuation back to Australia is impossible for the least part of the year. If someone suffers from appendicitis in the dead of winter in Antarctica, the doctor operates. But if it is the doctor himself, it is very difficult to operate yourself." Gons, it is very difficult to operate yourself, and apparently very difficult for a computer to understand what that is. It is very difficult to operate yourself. I hear you. It already happened once. In 1961, physicist Leonid Rogozov suffered from appendicitis at the Russian base.
Russians in Antarctica, man. They're just all over, and they're kind of revered. It's really interesting how Russians are revered.
Yeah, we covered how the Russians
in the Antarctica context.
The Russians banned chess in their Antarctic bases because scientists kept killing each other over chess games. And apparently now this Russian had to appendicitis himself, or appendectomy, at the Russian base Novolazarevskaya in the middle of a winter storm. They couldn't evacuate him, so after suffering from peritonitis, he had to operate himself with the help of 2 assistants and local anesthesia. After an agonizing operation that included fainting and dizziness, he managed to successfully operate, stopping the infection long enough until he was evacuated. The possibility of suffering an attack of appendicitis is between 5 and 9%. Too high to risk. That's why doctors who go to Antarctica remove their appendix before they travel. In the operating room, it is a simple operation that barely requires a day of hospitalization. Speak for yourself, robot.
I think you got in there a little late, Basil. I think they were going to remove some. But didn't the doctor warn you that they might have to remove some pretty important organs?
They were going to have to move my colon. I was going to have to be on a colostomy bag for 6 months.
Oh, that would have been terrible.
Luckily, it did not go that far, but it could have been worse. But yeah, it'd be pretty tough to have a colostomy bag in Antarctica. But it says requires a day of hospitalization, please, and has no sequelae. I don't know what sequelae means. Just looked it up. A condition which is the consequence of a previous disease or injury. Oh, I guess it. So that like no long-term effects from having appendicitis, since the appendix is useless. I like how
Nothing useless is allowed in the
I don't
great
trust
woke
this,
white
man.
desert.
This makes me think that the appendix is very important. The fact that the robot is laying it on this thick. All right, so if you're a doctor, you're going to go work in Antarctica, you got to get your appendix out because you're the only one who could take out. Look, if the Russian guy can do it, what's his name? Leonid Rogozov can do it.
Those Russians.
Then we can do it too. I didn't even have a human do mine. Mine was taken out by a robot.
Right.
There's some connection between robots and the appendix.
Well, this might really bring Flippy into the forefront of, anybody who wants to go to Antarctica has to get their appendix removed. That's a whole industry right there. A whole Flippy
doctors.
robot. Doctors and Flippy robots to do that procedure. I can see
maybe
it becoming a thing.
Maybe you know how your pineal gland is allegedly sort of your like spiritual organ, like you connect to the spirit world through your pineal gland.
Sure.
Maybe your appendix is your robot controlling organ. Like
robots figured out.
When the robots take over the world, it'll take a generation or so, but the humans will discover that if you can just focus, your energy on your appendix, you can use your appendix to control robots. And now this AI, who's obviously writing this article,
it's useless. Get rid of it.
Yeah,
don't come
useless
to our woke white desert if you have one of those things attached to it.
And the surgery's so easy. It doesn't even take a day.
Look, this Russian guy did it to himself. Come on.
Yes, you don't want to be a Russian, right? You don't want to be one of those nasty boys. Come let Flippy take out your appendix before you go to Antarctica.
Do you think, I'm just wondering, because I don't know much about appendicitis. I didn't know anything until actually you got it, and I really started to read articles and stuff on it because I was concerned. But
yeah,
in another world, like if we lived 100 years ago, that's it. You're done, right? You're home, kind of thing. Like you were gonna. That's how sick you were.
That is how I was apparently meant to die if we didn't have doctors. This was 100 years ago. It would read on my gravestone, lived 30-something years, died of a tummy ache.
Died of trying to remove his appendix.
I wouldn't even have known. I wouldn't even have known that I needed to take it out. It really just feels like a super bad tummy ache, and it just would have been like, yep, oh, the tummy ache got him. Put him in the ground. But I also would have been considered elderly 100 years ago, being 30-something.
Yeah. Okay, well, one step,
that's a good one.
One good sign, one sort of coming together moment for you. I think this is turning out to be something a little more special than we thought. So eventually Basil will make it to Antarctica, and this will be part of the story of getting your appendix removed and then learning that all of them get removed, or all appendixes that go to Antarctica.
Yeah, I'm in the
no
club.
appendixes in Antarctica.
Sometimes, Gons, I'm assuming you're the same. Sometimes, once in a while, when producership is low and we're questioning our life choices, that has brought us to a point in our lives, Gons, that our entire livelihood and our family's well-being and everything hinges on strangers voluntarily sending us money on the internet. You wonder what would happen. What's going to happen?
Right.
What would happen if suddenly everybody decided that this show wasn't worth existing anymore? And now I know all I have to do, I have a very simple life plan. If the producers decide that this show is dead, then I'll just go to medical school for 13 years. And if I survive that, I will go be a doctor in Antarctica. Sometimes when your life just falls into place like that, it's really incredible. Thank you, Lord. Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. I want to thank just a couple more producer. I don't know what word I thought I was going to. Yeah, producers. I don't know what word I thought I was going to put after that, but I'll just put the S on the end. Producers. Let's start with the Clippies.
Let's.
Clippy on those videos.
Thanks, Clippies. Go follow the Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube and Odyssey. Is this show too long for you? Well, do I have a good news for you? It's called Canary Cry Clips. You find it on YouTube and Odyssey. Go follow that channel, please. And thank you to the Clippies, who are on a brief hiatus right now, some life events, but, Clippies will get back to clipping. And if you're out there and you want to find a way to help us out, email me about becoming a Clippy, canarycryradio@gmail.com. Thank you, Clippies.
See, Clippy, Flippy, and Blippy today. It all comes together.
Yes. Thank you to the timestampies.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Yeah, the timestampers do exactly that. They timestamp the show, oftentimes live. Thank you to the person who emailed me about being a timestamper. I'm going to connect you to the boss of the timestampers. But thank you to Morgan E. and Jade Baxterson, team effort, for doing the timestamps for episode 656. Thank you very much. And we are still technically taking submissions for people who want to help out the show and timestamp once a week. Maybe even if we get more, once every other week, something like that. Cool. It's an easy job, but it's like the most important thing going on around here. Thank you to Jam for the links. Thank you to Nancy and Sir Ike for sending in some articles. Remember, go to canarycry.report. Thank you to Clank for everything you do. Thanks for clanking. And other than that, just share the show, folks. Share the show with your parents. Share the show with your dog. Share the show with all the birds in your neighborhood. Share the show with the crows. Share the show with parrots. Post it on your social media, put it in a box, send it to Antarctica. Or if you want to share the show in sort of a very unique way, because that's just how you are, you're a black sheep, you like to do things your own way, you want to find a new creative way to express yourself, your God-given talents, you can figure out a different way to share the show. For instance, you can operate your own appendicitis. You got appendicitis. We all got appendixes in there. And it's about time that we start a nonprofit. See, this is how you make progress in this world, Guns. If you want to get the real money, you got to get into the nonprofit business. All these charities shady out there making their making their millions, hiding behind a good facade. Facade of benevolence, when really they're just taking all that Hillary Clinton money and on all those blood diamonds, and they're doing all sorts of things. So we're going to start an NGO, a nonprofit. We'll find some world leader will help fund this through some sort of tax scheme. And we will offer free appendectomies to those poor, pitiful doctors that are apparently going to work in Antarctica. Their punishment is to get their appendectomy taken out and sent to the Great White Desert. But somebody's got to care for the prisoner. Jesus told us to care for the prisoner, pray for the prisoner. Who knows? Maybe even break the prisoner out with an earthquake or something. But in this case, the Lord has called us to offer free appendectomies to doctors who are going down to Antarctica, and they'll ask, "Why? Why are you doing this? What makes you do this? Who let you in my hotel room? Why is there a bunch of ice in the bathtub?" And you'll say, it's because, we're Christians, and this is what we believe that we're being called to do, to offer free appendectomies to poor, pitiful doctors who committed some sort of crime and are being sent to Antarctica. But it doesn't stop there. We'll take all of their appendixes. Here's the thing. Nobody knows what an appendix looks like. So even if they ask for it afterwards, you can just give them a chicken nugget or something, and they won't even know. Then we take all of those appendixes, and then we go visit that laboratory over in Eastern Europe or wherever they were putting pig kidneys in somebody's body, in the pig thymus. And we will start putting human appendixes into the pigs, because the appendix, as we know, is the gland that allows human beings to control robotics with their minds. If we equip all the pigs whose kidneys we've stolen, in place of that kidney, we put the appendix. We now have an army of robot controlling pigs. Okay? You see where I'm going? Is the whole thing starting to be clear now? It's all making sense. You thought I was crazy. You thought I was just making this up off the spot, and I didn't have a plan for this whole crazy idea, but I do. And now you see all of the sense that I'm making and the very logical and complete thought out plan for world domination by putting human appendixes taken from doctors who went to Antarctica. Nobody will miss them. Nobody will even know we have their appendix. We put them in pigs. The pigs save us from the robots. Bada boom, bada bing. The pigs run into the ocean. They're gone. Man inherits the earth. That's just one way to support the show. Oh yeah, and somewhere in there, the show. You tell somebody about the show. Somewhere in there, I forgot that was part of what I'm supposed to do here.
Our logo is on every appendix.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Right. We stamp every appendix with a thing, and then when the when the pigs are eventually excavated for war crimes or something, they'll see a bunch of logos, and you get it. You get the point. Share the show. We call it Rattling Cages. If you need any more instructions, here's what you do: you walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that!
You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone.
Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, any last words?
Just a thank you to all the producers here, and apologies for the RSS listeners who had to sit through a bad quality audio version of the show because some applications stopped working today. So that's fun.
Oh yeah, Audition stopped working. And while we're at it, just apologies to just everything, to everyone, for everything. We're sorry. We're sorry for everything, to everyone.
Yeah, okay. I did get a tweet. Someone told me that I'm horrible on X. Did you see that? That was fun. I just kept egging them. They kept telling me how horrible I am. It was great. I loved it. It was great. So anyway.
You know, I'm in an era right now that I'm very happy about where people actively emailing me and telling me how much they hate me has slowed down.
Oh, good.
So like the Basil hate has slowed down. It hasn't quite flipped where it's like, hey, Gon, stop being mean to Basil. Basil, go off on your own. Basil, you're the talented one. It hasn't quite gotten there yet, but maybe it's like a slow turnaround. One of these days.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for not being mean to me, everybody. And make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
Canary cry, that's suppose.